Watch! Hey, what's up, everybody?
I need you to turn that intro way back down.
I did turn it
Another
down.
2 notches, bro.
Oh,
Another 2 notches.
You guys, man, I'm punk rock, dude. I gotta have it loud, man. Welcome everyone to the second watch. Good to see. I see some new faces. Or at least I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you, Mike. What's up? Oh, that reminds me. Mike actually wanted me to tell you, Gary, that he really appreciates you last week being such a good sport with all his trolling. I don't know if you recall whatever he was trolling you about, but apparently he was trolling you.
That's the nature of my life. If nobody's trolling me, I must be alone. So no worries,
hold
Mike.
up. My boy Mike, turn it up. Yes. Yes. We got MaxLiao hanging in the green room, and we'll be bringing him in just a minute because Legion of Myth and one of his programs is coming back. Game Master Insights, one of my favorite things. So we'll be talking about that among other things. But real quick, some news, not a whole lot, but Avenger Satanis' Kickstarter was a success, kind of slid in last minute with like 2 hours to go. Very excited to see some more Chult material, but most importantly, Rob Alderman, a friend of the show, dear friend of the show, Book 3 of Gods of the Forbidden North is officially done.
Well, he's done with his part, right?
Well, yeah, that's what I meant. He's done writing.
Okay.
He's and now it's going to now it's going to the editors and the layout guys. So I'm very excited.
Congratulations, Rob. Rob was one of the first guests we had on the show.
Yes.
And I think he should be so proud of himself. You guys that are running Gods of the Forbidden North, I haven't read the whole thing.
It's awesome.
Everybody I know that's touched it loves it. So Rob, congratulations, man. I can't wait to see what you do next. I hope you do something next.
Well, I think he's already starting to work on some kind of conversion or whatever to like 5e or something, which something like by all means do it. Try to keep it in one book though.
I can't. I know things, but I don't want to say.
Yeah.
You might be slightly wrong.
Well, maybe. I don't know what he's doing.
Hey, real quick. Sorry, Full Metal Dragon. First time watching us. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks for being here.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, man. Good. I didn't see that. Thank you. Mercurius, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate it. Let's see. Is there anything else newsworthy? I think that's really it.
No, bring Max on. The only thing I'll say is that the drinking game tonight is anytime I bring up Stars Without Number, drink.
So it's the same thing.
It's the same as last week, yes.
And
yes.
and the week before?
Last week was the first week.
Oh, okay. All right.
I think.
Right.
I don't know.
Let's get I don't really remember either. All right, let's get Max in here. Good to see you, man.
Hello. Good to be here.
We're not worthy.
I think it's the other way around.
Oh, Max, welcome to the show. Thank you. I was thinking about this earlier, and I let YouTube, I kind of put a headphone in and I'll put it on the show and I'll go on about my daily business and just kind of listen to podcasts or streams or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, if I were to rank the most heard people in my ear, it would be Rogan, for some reason, Lex Friedman, and then you. Like if I just let it autoplay, you're going to show up about every 3 to 5 things. And I think that's just because I've seen a lot of your videos. So thanks for all that you've put out there, man.
Talk about being in some good company there. I mean, whether I like them or not, who cares? They're popular as heck. So my name even being in the same sentences, that's pretty awesome.
It's the algorithm, brother. It's the algorithm. Anytime RPGs come up, it's Legion of Myth. And, that's another thing. We can get into this, but one of the ways I discovered you is that I would type in like a specific game into YouTube and one of your videos would come up. So Earthstone.
That's our drinking game. So what's the first question? What is Max's favorite game? Well, you were just told.
We were planning on we were kind of planning on running bets was going to be Earthdawn or something from Palladium, because you guys do a lot of Palladium stuff. But yeah, I kind of figured Earthdawn would
Yeah,
win.
we've actually inadvertently, and I don't mean that like as in we didn't want it to happen. We just weren't even thinking about it happening. We inadvertently kind of became like the unofficial home of Palladium books, so to speak. And that's just been an kind of a surreal thing over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever planned for that happening, and I'm so happy it did because, man, I don't care what any of the history of it says. Kevin Sambita is such an awesome guy. Like,
Yeah.
I can't tell you behind the scenes the conversations we had with him. It's almost like having a father, so to speak, in some regard, where it's like he'll yell at me. Straight up, be like, that was a dumb thing to do, right? Okay, yes, sir. But he's got like a lot of great advice. It's like talking to a friend and so forth. And man, Sean and I can go at it, especially now with the whole turtles things, and it's fun because they still. They've got their business to run, and they're still like. I remember playing the games in the '80s. Like, man, I hope one day I can meet, be somebody like this, whatever. And then I'm talking to like we're best buds. It's just, I don't know. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, I think that is quite the feat. I mean, it's Palladium has always sort of been what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, it's sort of been like this other on this like other track with D&D. Like, so like when my group wasn't playing D&D and we wanted to take a break, like we had our pile of D&D books, but we also had our pile of Palladium books. And I remember my very first one was actually Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Same here.
And I had a blast with that. And then of course I fell in love with Rifts. Rifts was just
See, that's the one that did. So, to be fair, I always, if you were to say Robotech or Ninja Turtles, that I started with that, I'm gonna nod my head. So I'm sure you can clip me somewhere saying you said you started with Robotech, not TMNT, because I don't remember. Because it was about the same time for me. It was maybe
I had the Robotech book too around that same time. Yeah,
and I didn't know anything about Robotech, but I was playing it at school and so forth. And so, I played both of those, and I fell in love with Palladium back then. And I never, and to this day, I'll get caustic and argue with people when they get aggressively ridiculous. I've never understood the hate for Palladium. Yes, there are issues, but have you read some of those early Dungeons and Dragons books too?
Word.
They are not the best edited things out there. So let's be clear. I just had to translate my first edition games from High Gygaxian into English to figure out what the heck was being said. So yeah, there are some issues with things like that, but there's just the way people go off on it. Oh, it's clunky. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, what are you talking about? It works amazingly. What do you?
Oh, well, the fact that you could, and this is what we would do when we were playing. I mean, and to be fair, we were playing D&D more than Palladium, but like I could, and this is one of the reasons why I liked Rifts, because it was the Gonzo. It could bring in everything.
And that's what turned me off of it. But yeah, I understand.
But like you could, I had ninjas and super spies, and I would take like the Dimmock combat martial arts, because I had the whole chart as you gained levels and all that for the different karate styles and all that. And I would give that to like my I don't know, my glitter boy or something. So like I'd be like this martial artist, but with like a glitter boy and shit. Like Palladium, in a sense, if I may be so bold, had a very similar like OSR type design. Like you could just plug and play so much with that. And I think that's like a hidden strength of the system. I'm by no means a master. I haven't played it in years, but
well, it's funny. I just ran a game today. But I look at Palladium and the Hickman Manifesto as being very similar. I'm a Hickman Manifesto guy. So I absolutely love not every word of it, but what Hickman, I think it was his wife actually, if I remember correctly, but was trying to put out there about how to have a good concurrent story. I don't see it as just a game. Like, okay, well, what Monster of the Week? I don't even like TV shows like that. I didn't like Supernatural. Well, I liked it, but I didn't like it like, oh, this is the best thing ever, X-Files, because it's just a Monster of the Week type stuff. I want to see something with some continuity, something that grows, something that makes the world feel alive. And Palladium did that right from the beginning while still having old school feel in like subsystems and character classes and things like that. So I think between that and the old Dragonlance, which Hickman Manifesto Dragonlance, go figure, that I absolutely, that's how I fell in love with things like Dungeons and Dragons and fantasy gaming as a whole.
Confession, I've never played any Palladium game. ever.
So,
It was
so Lord Mattias, you and I are gonna have a great conversation. And I don't know who this guy is.
I'll boot him right now. I can boot him right now. This wouldn't be the first time I've talked about it. No.
it hasn't been, any kind of like, I'm not gonna play that. It just
Sure.
always seems to be what they're playing over there. You know what I mean? And
Yeah,
that, I
well,
don't want
there
to
are some
bother
people
that
who are
group. They
scared of
seem
it.
to
They-
be doing the thing, so I'm gonna leave them alone.
Yeah, well, there are misconceptions about it. Some aren't misconceptions, but you kind of got to work through it a little bit. Like, where do I find this rule? One of my favorite clips that I got of Kevin was literally the first time he was ever on our show, and we were kind of talking about that. He even talked to us. He's like, "Where's this rule? I can't find it." I'm like clipping the hell out of that one. So I got a short of that. But that's also the kind of the fun with it. I think sometimes people get too serious,
Mhm.
myself included, um, about what they're expecting, and I call it in modern terms, I call it like the Pathfinder syndrome, or, back in the old days, like too much simulationism. It's like you're trying to find, where's the rule? Where's the rule that tells me how to do this? You're the game master. If it fits the framework of the game, just go with it. Well, what if my player complains? You tell him to shut up and you're the game master. Like,
Yep. We'll look
Yeah.
it up after the session. We're gonna do
Yeah.
this now,
Yeah.
and if it's that big a deal, we'll talk about it afterwards. And
I-
luckily, we're at an age where I think most of the people we play with understand that, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't
Yeah.
had that argument in quite a while, so
Yeah. No, my in-person player group, I feel kind of bad for them, and the rules as written crowd would probably freak out if they actually saw how I ran my Gods of the Forbidden North game. I'm using the rule cyclopedia, but I've quickly realized the skill systems in there
Mhm.
just suck. They break the game. I don't think they were play tested at all. So I just started modding them, and I have it's a Notion. It's a website where you can like share notes and stuff, where I have all that, so they can see it. But then as I started going through it, I'm like, oh, there's this whole thing about alternative magics, but there's no other alternative magics in the game. Well, in comes RPG Pundit's old school companion number 3, which has 6 alternative magic systems in it.
Okay.
Threw that in there, and now I have my players in downtime doing all kinds of hijinks. So now I'm bringing an Adventure Conqueror King. It is like a Frankenstein's monster. I'm having a blast with it. They're having some fun with it, but the rules as written crowd are probably their heads would explode.
So as far as the rules as written thing goes, I'm a firm believer that anytime you play a game, you have to play it rules as written first. I don't care if
Agreed.
you've been playing a game, these games for like 1 week or for 40 plus years, like some of us have. You got to play it rules as written first to understand why it does what it does. Because if you might break something now thinking that you're smarter than it, that later on you're like, ooh, or fix
Yep.
something and you end up breaking it later. But I look at all these games. People are like, can you rule 0 this game? Dude, you're a human being. You can rule 0 anything.
Right.
Like it's just, now, should you? That's a whole different story. But
Yeah.
you play it rules as written first, and then after that, if you're making a Frankenstein game and the players are liking it, I hate the cop-out answer. Well, as long as they're having fun. I hate that as a general answer, but it is the truth at the same time. If
Yeah.
they're having fun, today, the game that I ran never even had combat, so I didn't get to test the combat system out. And I had to come up with some things on the fly because some of them never played a role-playing game before, didn't know what they were doing. They came up with some off-the-wall stuff. So it's just, I don't know, roll D20. We'll go high-low on this one.
Sure.
Like,
Yeah. Well, I had an exchange with someone. I think it was Mythic Mountain Gaming. I think that's who it is. Nice guy. I don't know him well. But it was on Twitter, and yeah, he made the argument. Hey, if I want to play Traveler, I'm going to assume Mark Miller knows what he's talking about, and he's not an idiot. So I'm going to play the rules that he wrote.
Sure.
And I was like, you're absolutely 100% correct. But what if you've played Mark Miller's Traveler 100 times? Isn't that kind of like reading a book over and over and over again? And you start to get a little bit more insight into the characters and the plot, and you have a deeper understanding of it. Couldn't that happen with a rule set? And if so, couldn't you then, as a game master, engage in the act of creation and mod Mark Miller's Traveler? Shouldn't that be as legitimate? And I think that's one of the problems I have with like the more dogmatic approach to Raw. They don't get that a game master is engaged in creation when they put together a campaign.
absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I'm glad we're in agreement.
well, but I think there are some games. I think the more granular a game gets, the more careful you have to be, messing with the rules. I'm kind of rules as written until they prove to be broken.
Sure.
is kind of how I feel about it, you know. And I don't begrudge guys who want to have their house rules and they want to spice things up, and that's great, you know, have fun. But I feel a little odd going off the rails, you know. I don't know. I did want
One
to
of the
ask.
things that I run into in a game though is and this is for every. I don't think there's a tabletop role playing game that I found a system that I really like. But since we were talking Palladium, we'll do that. I've totally gutted the Palladium combat system and rewrote it. Not because I think it's bad. To be fair, for what it is trying to do, it works perfectly. But I have an anal retentive side to me that can't handle how tabletop role playing games handle cover and concealment. Dungeons and Dragons doesn't do it right. Free League doesn't do it right. Palladium doesn't do it right. Nobody does cover and concealment right. Maybe it's the old military mindset in me or
I
whatever.
was just gonna.
So what I did is I still use the same basic system, roll with your bonus to strikes, you know, so on and so forth. But I now have a table. No cover, partial cover, full cover, no cover, no concealment, partial concealment, full concealment. And it's this table, and that tells me what your target number is now. It's not just gonna be 5+, and there's actually one target number on there that's a 22. How are we supposed to get a 22? Well, you got to be really good. That's how you do that one. But I mean, that's full cover, full concealment. I mean, you can't see him, you don't know where he is, and he's got all the walls and so forth in the way to stop you from hitting him. But I did that not because I thought Palladium was bad, but because it's just my tweak that I have to do to any system. And I think that game masters, for whatever worlds that they're in, if you find something that, man, I just want my world to promote this a little more, and you tweak a rule from it, there you go and have at it.
I agree. We got a super chat from Disco. Good to see you, brother. I hope Beastmaster was good. He was saying that he was going to be a little late tonight because he was watching that excellent movie. Yard Dog Brothers and So It's Sisters, finishing up Beastmaster. They have my attention a bit. Hope all is well. Looking forward to the show.
Talking the original Beastmaster with Mark Singer.
Yeah, yep. I think so. Yeah,
I
freaking love that.
So many years.
I rewatched it about a year or so ago, and
nice.
It holds up. As far as I'm still a nerdy fantasy dude, you know what I mean?
Every time I see him, though, I'm like, that's the guy from V.
Yes, yeah,
right.
And I love his little sword maneuver, which is really dumb, but I love it anyway.
I think Beastmaster is better now as an adult, because when I go in watching it, my expectations are so low. And it's actually not the worst of all the B movies out there. It's not the worst, man. I've seen a lot of crap.
Oh no. There's some doozies from that era that, I mean, I rewatched today, and I'm like, one, how did my parents allow me to watch this? The original Deathstalker in particular, because there's a scene where his masculinity is supposed to be so intense that she just submits, and I'm like, that's a sexual assault.
No, we call that the 80s, sir.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. That's the 80s. Yeah, there's. But anyway, Ultra $2 super chat. Thanks, man. Good to see you. What? Oh, hey, good question. What TTRPG goodies are on your Christmas list? Do you have?
Oh, you want me first?
Whoever. You got an answer?
I don't actually have anything, because so talking about Palladium again, I was going to do my Palladium Christmas package, and somebody bought 2 Christmas packages for me. And again, if he's watching, I don't think he is, but if he is watching, thank you, Chris, very much. I appreciate that. But that kind of ended it right there. Everything else, I'm caught up on most of the games and so forth. I'm just waiting for my new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff to get to me. I don't even have the email saying it's being shipped, and some people are showing it off already. Jerks. All of you are jerks. But yeah, so other than that, I like everything that I've either backed or needed or whatever. As you can see, I have a couple of books behind me. I don't really need
just a few. I think you just have a few. Yeah.
And you were around, Lord Mattis, when I did. I think you were anyway, when I was doing my Here Have Max's crap giveaway and had 3 more bookshelves of stuff on there. Like I was just like, I got to clean off some of this stuff. Yeah, I want to play. That's the thing. Now, after running that game today, I'm just like, I'm like,
yeah. I think the only thing on my list, I wanted some kind of tokens, like physical tokens for going to a con or whatever, just having something to pack easy that's not miniatures, because I don't have miniatures, because I don't paint miniatures, because I'm not a nerd. Just kidding.
Hey, you know what? I like this guy now.
But that's really it. And I think I think I told my wife to convert any Christmas money into North Texas money. I think that's about it, man. You know, I think that's it. I've got everything I need. Got everything I need. Although now I'll be buying a Palladium book. You know what, Max? Since you came on the show, I'm gonna bite the bullet. You know what? I'm doing Robotech. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing something.
Unfortunately, they lost the Robotech license many, many years ago, but you
Oh,
can
you
get it
can't
off
find that
Noble Knight
anywhere?
Games and eBay.
Yeah,
I
you might
bet
be
you
able
could
to
find it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I could find
I
it.
did. I've got some of them, but they were a little pricey.
Yeah.
Really?
condition,
Well, then
though.
I'll find something more appropriate price wise. But I will. That's one of those systems I've always been. You know, I need to read that. I need to look at this. I'll do it.
Then my
time.
suggestion for you, and I can't believe I'm saying this. Anybody out there who hears me say this, they're gonna clip this and they're gonna go, "Oh my god!" Dead Rain. And the reason I say that
That's
is
the zombie one. Yeah.
is apparently that has the best written combat section of any book. So you won't be fighting. We'll just say the layout like you will in some other ones. That's what I've been
Right.
told anyway. I am so absolutely just if you start saying zombies to me and I zone. I'm just. I don't care. I don't want. I was tired of vampires in the '90s. I was tired of zombies about 15 years ago. I don't ever want to hear about them again. So Dead Rain isn't my thing, but everybody tells me that is the best one to get started with for the clarity of the rules.
That makes sense. I remember it was funny. I had read about 100 issues of the Walking Dead comic book before the show even came on. Like I had stepped away from I was just like, every month, this is the thing that makes me the most sad. And every month is this comic book, this story. I'm walking away. And then the show came on and it was like, nope, not fucking doing zombies anymore.
Just wanted to highlight Judd. I got my deck of many triggers today. Awesome, dude. I hope you enjoy it. TMNT already came last weekend. Very nice. I don't have any that's funny. I don't have any anything like game wise on my wish list. I'm just waiting on some Kickstarters. I backed the Portal to Adventure. And I think because that comes with like a limited edition Arduin Grimoire. So that might just go on the shelf. So I hinted at my wife. I'm like, there's a gaming company in Buffalo, just an hour and a half away. Get me a copy of the Arduin Grimoire. That Santa would make me very happy if Santa dropped that off. But I think what's on my list is I got to rebuild my dice collection. Confession time. When I was at Arnicon, had a great time, but I think my dice bag that I've had since 1988 with the random collection of dice in it fell out of my bag, and I don't have any dice anymore. So I have to rebuild my thing. And I'm really, I hate myself for this because I've had that dice bag since 1988. The collection of dice in there is not a complete set. It's just a hodgepodge of stuff. So there is Lord Madius's dice bag out there in the wild. It's an artifact of massive power. If anyone finds it, there may be a monetary reward.
Where was this when you lost it? Where was it?
Arnicon. So it was in Minnesota.
Oh, hey there, you're in where in Minnesota is it?
Matt, I can't recommend highly enough the Runehammer set of dice. This is the best D20 I've ever had. They're all oversized, easy to read for old man eyes, but not big enough to screw your table up and leave dings in it. Love these dice. Anyway.
I'll tell you what my players said because they're familiar with this dirty green dice bag that's got holes in it. They're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe it." I'm like, "Yeah." And my one friend at the end of the table, Dan, he goes, "Oh, you mean that set of D20s that has a tendency to roll 20s, natural 20s when you're attacking players and killing characters?" It's like, "Yeah, I lost those." He's like, "Oh man, that's a shame. That's a real damn shame." But yeah. So anyway, there may be a monetary reward if anyone finds it.
Well, hey, the next time I go home, I'll go snooping around because as anybody watches my show knows, I'm from Minnesota. I didn't even know there's a con in Minnesota.
Arnicon, yeah, it was the third year. It's where the heck is it? One of the suburbs. I can't remember. It was a lot of fun.
Well, good news. I'm from a suburb of the Twin Cities, so
yeah, I think everyone should check it out. I got to do a Bronstein with nice. Dave Wesley.
Okay.
I met Gary Svensson, like It was just a really awesome time, like really super old school, like old school. Like I played Blackmore, so
Wow.
yeah, it was
Yeah,
cool.
you know, I got to be honest. I'm not fully interested in a lot of that really, really old school kind of chainmail, Bronstein and so forth type play. It's not my thing. Again, I really picked up with the Hickman Manifesto or that era, the
Yeah.
Dragonlance era. They used to call us dirty campaigners, and I'm like,
Oh
I don't
yeah,
know
yeah,
what that
yeah,
means. Yeah, but at the same time, I really love those old games, if that makes sense.
yeah.
Like I love the
Did,
subsystems.
did you start like second edition D&D? Is that where you got your
No, I
start?
technically started with either basic or first edition. I don't know which one it was because I don't remember. I just know I played a thief, and if you, most people out there, like they're from my channel, they know the ant story. But I was 10 years old, so whatever existed in 1983, I didn't pay much attention because I went to Lutheran school, and the Satanic Panic was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So really, the first game I truly played, as somebody commented right when the stream started, was with that game right there. It was BattleTech. That was then it went to Robotech and TMNT, and then because they weren't Dungeons and Dragons, I was allowed to play them.
Yeah.
And then after that, to really get into D&D, second edition is where I started. Right when it came out, because everybody had these brand new books and like, we gotta play. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but I was part of that group, and I just started playing.
No, that's very familiar, Max. I had my aunt. She's still to this day. Like I said, Dungeons and Dragons in her kitchen a couple years ago, and she gave me a funny look. But she was very against it, and that's why Star Wars D6, Marvel Superheroes, Shadowrun. That's why all those games probably started to pass through the house, was because we could get away with that. Yeah, that was people don't know, man. These old, especially like I live in Texas, these old Southern ladies, they go to church on Sunday, and by Monday morning, your shit was in the barbecue pit.
Yeah, well, so you had the Southern ladies down here. So I live in Alabama now, and I'm having some flashbacks here to what we called the gossip grannies up in Minnesota, where they go to the old country kitchen or whatever, and they be sitting. Oh, can you believe old Susie over there? She is such a whore. I can't believe that. You know,
hi Susie, how you doing?
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And of course, I'm just a kid. Getting my face wiped off with spit and coffee. That kind of crap.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just. It was just what it was. Again, the little church ladies running around, and they had a lot of pull and a lot of power. Not, more power to them, I guess. But my mom was the one that, believe it or not, she was actually more okay with it. And I didn't know this until I was older. In fact, I didn't know this until the last couple of years. I'm 52. Like I was having a conversation with her. I said, yeah, it was just really weird. And I don't know how we got in the conversation, but talking about the Satanic Panic, so on and so forth. She's like, I really didn't have that much of a problem because you were staying out of trouble with it. But it was everybody else around me was making me feel bad about it. It's like, well, that's fair.
I was lucky enough to avoid all that because I got started in '88. But leading up to it, I was hearing a lot. Especially I remember when I was in third grade, because that's when it was like big, and there was the my parents would watch 60 Minutes, and I'd be forced to sit there and watch it, waiting for it to be done so then I could watch my show or whatever. And I remember watching the Gary Gygax interview. Thankfully my parents were kind of liberal, or at least they didn't buy into what my dad referred to as the Pass the Loot Club, the 700 Club. So my dad, he would just sit there like, bullshit. But at the same time, when I finally saw the red box set and I would like beg my father for the $20 to go buy it, my mom kind of raised an eyebrow, and I'm like, it's just a game. And she's like, oh, she didn't give a shit. And to this day, when like the last time I was over visiting my parents, who are now in their late 70s, early 80s, I told her, I'm like, yeah, I'm actually self-publishing stuff for D&D. She's like, that was such a great creative outlet for you. I'm so glad you found it. I'm like, oh, great. My dad goes, you fucking nerd.
Yeah.
So my stepdad died earlier this year, and so I went home to Minnesota, and my mom and I were talking about my YouTube channel a little bit, and I said, do you remember that those games you wouldn't let me play at the one time? This is when she knows my life kind of revolves around role-playing games, so she knows the topics could come up. I said, do you remember when I was playing like the Turtles game, and we were playing that Robotech game? And so she was like, a little bit. I said, yeah, I now talk to the guy who wrote that game like on a monthly basis. We're actually pretty good friends, and I'm telling you, she had a little tear that came down. She's like,
that's like, so cool.
Yeah, actually, I kind of thought that she's like, because she looked at it back then. She's like, that passion you had for that stuff back then. And to be fair, I played much more D&D than I did anything else, but she knows about that. And you're now talking to the creator 40 years later who's still making his passion, right? And you're basically kind of friends with. I don't want to oversell that, but I talk to him. I think of him as a friend, and so yeah, that I mean, it'd be like saying, hey, Gygax and I, we go back away.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just kind of close. It's like, oh,
It is odd how those things happen, because I know I think I'm a couple years older than you, Matt, because I'm 51, 52.
I'm 54.
I'm somewhere. I'm right.
50, I'm 52.
I'm in that
I'm
place where
47.
I'm really trying not to pay attention anymore. But that whole satanic panic thing was real, and there was, you got to remember, especially most people back in the day lived in small towns. There was a lot more social pressure that was face to face.
Oh yeah.
There really was, and everybody was involved with their community. Everybody knew if you
Yep.
didn't go to church. It was just one of those
I'll
things.
tell you right now, and pardon me for interrupting. I
No,
apologize.
go ahead.
But
go ahead.
If I would rather go back to that than what
Yeah.
we had 5 years ago. I will
Agreed.
take the satanic panic any day and have all my favorite books back there burned,
Yep.
than go through what we did from about 2014 to 2022-ish.
I might go back a little further than you, man. I might go back a little further, but I agree. And I was real lucky that I'm a Gen X kid, so mom worked, and
Mhm.
she paid just enough attention to know that I was healthy and relatively happy. So I never had a problem playing games or anything like that. But there was a lot of kids who did, and it was a very real thing. And my mom, she's older, she's older. And she knows that I have this show, and she thinks it's funny. I haven't seen her cry, but she always asks me about my little D&D show and how it's going and everything.
That's
So
awesome.
it's nice. Yeah, it is nice. When you do something for a long time.
So I mean, I'll tell you right now, and just say that Kevin doesn't agree with me on this one. But I told him, because I was actually talking to him about this. I want to go back to the days when we were bullied.
Fuck
I know
yes.
I know that sounds messed up. As somebody who was put in a porta potty, clip this. Get ready to clip, folks. Who was put in a porta potty and had it tipped over on him. Who was pushed behind bleachers and almost killed. Who was put on a cart that used to run around the gym and slam me into walls. Now it took 5 of them to get me on that cart, but once I'm there, right? Who was shoved in a locker because I used to be really skinny. All kind of the normal stuff. Hung on a flagpole and had my belt loop ripped. Fun times. I would still rather go back to those days than have this crappy as mainstream as it was.
I kind of miss the monoculture. I'm not gonna lie. When you had 3 channels, everybody had something to talk about.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It was just, I know it seems silly to say that, and we're never going back. It's never going to happen. But there was something to having a kind of a limited access to things. Everybody, you had something to talk about. Everybody had the same 3 or 4 channels. There were only so many books. And quite honestly, man, I'm not going to lie. It's great that everybody can put out their product and they don't have to go through the gatekeepers and yada, yada, yada. But so much of that is just trash.
Yeah.
Like there's so much out there that's just
true.
vapor. You almost miss the gatekeepers sometimes, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
like I have no doubt that Chubby, if Chubby wanted to be in the game
I'm
industry, he'd be able to do
advocate.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have
ahead,
to play devil's advocate.
You're wrong.
Because I do get what you're saying, because there seemed to be a better quality of product, but we were just saying, like, if you go back to like the early, some of the earlier stuff that was put out there, it wasn't great layout. There was still typos and stuff, and so I caution the nostalgia, right? Being blinded by nostalgia. But I think the problem with the gatekeeping sort of, well, what we've seen in the past 5 years, 10 years, the gatekeeping goes beyond just the aesthetic and into the political. And we try not to be political here on this channel, but that is an issue. And I think having a robust market where there's a lot out there, it's a lot of noise, but if you have the passion, you're gonna break through. And if you put the work in, you're gonna break through. And if you're good, you definitely will break through.
So here's my counter to that. and you're looking at it. Sounds like you're looking at it from the publisher side, from the creator side. From I'll say from a player side.
Okay, go
Anytime
ahead.
you mainstream stuff, it turns to crap.
Mm.
World of Warcraft was the worst MMO
Yes,
ever
I
because
agree.
it was turned to mainstream.
But you know
Dungeons
what?
and Dragons is crap because it's become
I agree.
mainstream.
I agree. But you know what? That's capitalism. That's creative destruction.
Sure, but I think hobbies need to stay niche.
And
anytime you make it mainstream, you ruin a hobby.
I don't know if you ruin the hobby. I'm not 100% sold
when you
on
make
that,
it for the masses, you dumb it down, and I don't mean that in an intelligence way.
Actually, wait a second. Time out.
Time out. I gotta respond.
I agree.
Respond.
But you're wrong.
All right. No, I'm not wrong.
No, go ahead, Matt. Go ahead.
We were just talking about this before we went live. I'm like, Max, we might start
my
yelling
mind.
at each other.
Yell at me too. I don't care.
Yeah. I think when you're talking about it dumbs it down and it sucks, you're talking about D&D as the sort of label for the hobby, like Kleenex. Who cares if D&D sucks? There's all this great stuff that's out there, and
because I don't like my shit ruined. Sorry, my stuff ruined.
But that's gonna happen. You're gonna have to get used to it. Star Wars is dead. D&D is dead.
To get shows put back on the air.
What else is dead?
Hold on.
Transformers is
wait
dead.
A second. Stop.
All of it's dead.
Well, some things are supposed to die. But listen, I really want to speak up. I want to throw this one thing into the conversation, because one of the things that we're talking about right now is we're talking about all these franchises that have died or have been ruined by corporate greed or whatever. We've lived through an anomaly in the past 10 to 15 years. I don't think that what we've lived through with all the political correctness and all the weirdness infecting entertainment and everything, I don't think that is something that is like, that's not cyclical. It hasn't happened to us before, right? So this is kind of now the corporate greed sucking the soul out of everything. That's definitely happened.
This might be nitpicky.
I think it could be mainstream and still be good.
This might be nitpicky, but I would argue that we're getting political here. Sorry, but the political correct. Actually, I'm not sorry, because I just been waiting for the door open. This was actually my secret. I'm like, if I have MaxLiao on, I can start ranting. No, but I think the past 10 years, or 15 years, like what's been labeled woke, all that sort of political correctness stuff, is just as religious as the Satanic Panic. It's just, I would argue it's worse. I would
because it's literally at your table. The Satanic Panic, you could hide from it. You could secretly play with your friends somewhere.
All I'm saying is, I do think it's what we've experienced the past 10 to 15 years is cyclical, and I am concerned because I'm also, a student of history. I'm concerned that once the pendulum swings the other way, and it is swinging the other way, we might have another sort of thing that happens in the next 5 to 10 years. We'll see. I could be wrong. But I would take issue with that, because I just think that's human nature. People
but there's a difference in popularity and mainstream. I want like a game or the hobby to be popular, but I want people to respect the traditions of it. Well, if you change it, have a good reason for it. This whole thing, and Dungeons & Dragons is a perfect example of it, because WotC is not Dungeons & Dragons, but it has the label. Don't care. It can legally have whatever it wants. It does not have the heart, the soul, and spirit of what TSR did with Dungeons & Dragons.
I agree.
And so therefore, it is not Dungeons & Dragons. It is a simulacrum. It is a doppelganger. It was, whatever word you want.
What it is, it's an animated corpse.
There you go. Yeah, it's absolutely, and I've said that too. That it's a
zombie
of Dungeons & Dragons.
You need to let it die and just move on.
Absolutely. No, I'm for it.
Sorry.
I can save it. Put me in charge. I can save it.
We had this discussion last week.
Wait a second. And I don't feel like I got to have my full say. So
go ahead. I'm sorry.
All right.
Gary.
Here's the way this works. First off, I really lament the fact that you've become so jaded in your old age that you think it's best just to put the fucking dog down when there is a procedure that could save it. All right. I know
it's called a 50-cent bullet.
Yeah, but sometimes you can save the dog. It's possible. Technology has moved on. Do you know that
faster and
do you know they've got a new tool? You can pull a chicken bone out of an animal as long as it hasn't gotten into the small intestine. That's amazing. Anyway, I can fix Dungeons and Dragons. The point being, I just had to go to the vet. The point being, I think it would be good if Dungeons and Dragons were mainstream and it was actually a game, a decent game. I don't need it to be the best game, but I think that nobody says, I'm interested in role-playing games. No, your friend comes up and says, hey, I heard you play D&D.
Mhm.
And I don't want to go through the 10 minutes of, well, I play something like D&D, but it's not exactly, because fuck 5e, man, and Watsy can suck my dick. Like, I don't want to do that. You know what I'm
Hold
saying?
on, you just quoted me. I have the rights to what you just said right there.
Put that shit on a t-shirt, Legion of Myth. So I think it would be best if the pole that hung the banner, you know what I mean, if it were in good shape. I think this, and I want to watch it die. I think that's some bitter old man shit.
It's got nothing
and
to
I
do.
refuse. It does because you feel as if you have somehow been personally wronged.
No,
and you may have been
no.
wronged by a company called Watsy.
No,
but
that's not my motivation.
And the name itself matters.
That's not my motivation.
We could keep the same laws and the same general constitution, but if you change our flag and give us a different name, it's going to feel different. That's a bad analogy.
Is
it can't be equated. No, it's not a bad analogy. What it is, Matt, is that the problem is, and I've been thinking a lot about this all week long. This has been messing me up all week long. It is easy to quantify the negative, right? But we can't quantify the intangibles that make the negative worth it. Like if you put that into effect for everything, like having kids, right? I can tell you how much money it's going to cost, how much sleep you're not going to get, how much time you're not going to have. But I can't quantify all, like one good thing about having a kid, I can't quantify it for you. I just know that it makes it worth it, right? There are intangibles. And for whatever reason, we're in this age where the intangibles are ignored. And I think there is something to having that, at least that game itself, in good shape for the next group of people that are coming around. That's all.
Fair enough. I don't know what to say about the tangibles and intangibles, but I will say this: my motivation has nothing to do with curmudgeon. Maybe a few years ago, but that like pushed me into discovering games like Lamentations of the Flame Princess.
Sure.
What Free League's doing, and I am seeing great games that are like infinitely better.
But that happened to everybody before D&D sucked. Like D&D was still good when I was playing Star Wars D6 and when I played Shadowrun.
Yeah, but it's not good now.
Second and third wave.
And from a purely
it's not at the moment, but it could be
free market theory. From a purely free market theory, D&D has run its course as a product. Now, as an idea, Kleenex, like, hey, I need tissues. I need Kleenex. Go get me some Kleenex, babe. You know what I mean? But
I disagree.
But you know, my local store has their own brand, and it's got a little bit of that oil or whatever, the aloe.
I hate that shit.
I love it. It makes my nose feel good in the winter. It's not Kleenex, but it's better.
You got a runny nose and you want to rub slime all over it. You want
not slime.
All over
it keeps my nose from getting all dry. Anyway,
it's supposed to be dry. You're a dog. Why do you want a wet nose?
My issue with Dungeons and Dragons, though, and Watsy, I'm out there with the idea of let it die to some degree because of what's happened to it. They put it out to pasture. Now they got to pull the plug. But that's because it's, like I said, it's not Dungeons and Dragons. It is Watsy Fantasy Role Playing 3rd Edition. That is what it is. I'm an IP purist. I don't care if it's a TV show. I don't care if it's a movie. Go watch Brian. What is it? Game with ADHD's channels. We're covering MechWarrior 1st Edition, and I'm throwing out all these anecdotes about why BattleTech in 1985 is superior to BattleTech today, and I will argue that up and down, and I'm right every time because they're just wrong every time, and that's just the way it is because they're idiots. Because they want it mainstreaming and ruin stuff. But going back to D&D, it is not. That's the thing. It's not Dungeons and Dragons. If they'd called it something else, I wouldn't care about its popularity. But when you change it, well, we're going to keep the same name on it. That's like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take Star Trek. We're going to remove spaceships. We're going to make the entire thing aliens and no spaceships, and it's going to take place underground. What? But they'll have a phaser. So you'll have that one little thing that's the same.
Well,
That's
what
not
makes
Star Trek, okay?
that's
I'm
actually a
with
good
you.
point.
I
But my
understand
question
that.
is, what makes D&D D&D then? Are you saying like the OSR is
I would say
D&D?
the OSR is much more D&D. Now, I'm not
I would
on the
agree with
OSR
that.
bandwagon like some people, but is absolutely more D&D than what modern D&D is. I believe in race class limitations, whatever that happens to be for your game, whether it's race as class or race class limitations, because I believe in bioessentialism and I believe that they are literally a personification of stereotypes and tropes. If you're doing it other than that, you're just cosplaying and GTFO. Um,
No,
I
Max.
I don't mind the classes. I'm cool with the classes because it is supposed to be a class-based game. I don't care if you do second edition and the kits. I don't care if you do first edition, just make up your own stuff out of a Dragon magazine and just finagle it. None of that matters. I believe in for Dungeons and Dragons only. I believe in descending armor class. That's just it's one of those little tropey things that needs to kind of stay there. I believe in the saving throw, rod, staff, wand, paralyzation, poison, death magic, all the weird things like what does this stuff even mean? Who cares? It's fun to roll. That's
Right.
what all that
I
stuff.
don't.
No one of it, not a single one of it. I mean, let me phrase that. You can change one thing and it's not a big deal. But when you change all of it, you've literally made a new game and just okay, we're gonna stamp that label on it. Nope, I'm out. That is not Dungeons and Dragons. Thank you for your WotC Fantasy Roleplay First Edition.
Yeah,
I
and
would
that's
agree.
that. I
would
think
agree
that
with you to an extent. To an extent, I do think
I
there are
think
some things that were better after they were changed, but I do agree with the general assessment. Yes, and you don't
I
see
think
Monopoly's pretty much the same game.
Yes.
Shoots and
Yeah.
Ladders is
And
the
you know what?
same game.
How many house rules are there for Monopoly that people play?
Tons, fucking tons,
Yeah.
and good for write a book of them.
Yep.
Listen, Max, I actually agree. And when we were talking last week, there's been this whole thing about if I own D&D, what would I do? And we never really got around to it because Matt had a drink or two and was like, "Fucking let it die, fucking let it die," and I couldn't get a word out.
No,
But that's
you
exactly
had some
what the
things to
fuck you
say.
did, bro. I fucking hate these bastards killing. That's what your take on it was, and I couldn't get anything out. But one of the things I was going to say is that if I did own, if I were the next guy in charge of ruining D&D, I would lean into the back catalog. The next edition would be much closer to the original rules. I don't know if I'd keep Thaco, but that's just for taste, really. It
Right. And
matter.
even if you change it to ascending armor class because it's more intuitive, I don't think most people would have a problem with it. But it was
Right.
it was like the entire change. Like I've talked about this a lot. One of the things that I learned about WotC is one of their design mechanics was the fact that or design philosophies was that they were sick and tired of people saying, "Oh, I play Forgotten Realms, I play Ravenloft, I play Dragonlance." They wanted people to say, "I play Dungeons and Dragons." So how do you do that? You homogenize it all.
Yeah.
Homogeneity did not make that work. I mean, again, it made it work for the masses because now you can have gnome paladins, which is the stupidest thing I've ever heard of in my life. And if you say you had one, we just can't be friends. Because
hey,
like,
War Plot, Stars Without Number rocks, bro. Sorry.
It
Drink.
In fact, a little secret about my channel, so I can promote myself. Oh crap! I got to get myself a shot now. That's going to be the entire series we cover in 2026. Is going to be stars, ashes, cities, and.
Oh, really?
Max, this is perfect. I'm so glad I met you tonight because I just got on Stars Without Number about 3 weeks ago.
He has not stopped talking about
I
it.
will
I
not
have
shut
to
up.
read it now.
I love science.
I want to
fiction
read it.
games.
I'm just saying I have to read it.
No,
sooner
I would,
than,
Max.
Yeah.
I would, if you're doing anything online, let me know because I think, congratulations. I'm going to go pour a drink in a sec. I've had all the Crawford free books and I've looked at the tables and thought this is cool, but I just started reading them about a month ago and it's like,
okay,
these are great.
I haven't read them at all. Heathen Dog has actually done a series on Stars Without Number like 5, 6, 7 years ago or something like that. We never got back to it.
So that's what I was trying to tell you earlier before the show is one of the ways I found you guys is I would look up a game on YouTube and you guys would have a video on it. Like it would just be like, oh, look, it's these Legion of Myth guys again. So I got to go get a drink. I'll be right back.
I'm glad you said that because one of the things, so we had, or I was actually on Four Color Cafe Bears show with Servant of Shiloh, RPG Elite, as a lot of people know him. And he said something.
I love that guy. Yeah.
He's a fantastic dude. I love talking with him. Absolutely. But he said something. He said, we all have a why of why we're doing this YouTube thing. And it could be different for everybody. Some people's just for fun. Some people's for this. And what the thing that did with me is, I used to write mission statements for everything. I used to be very business oriented and so on and so forth. Not that I fell out of that, but I kind of feel that at one point what is the why? Why are we doing this, for the Sunday show? And this is the word that popped in my head. And by the way, this isn't essay. I'm just saying, but the word is exposure. We are trying to expose people. If it's RPG Digest on Sundays, and pardon me, I'm not trying to promote my show right now, but if it's RPG Digest on Sundays, we're either trying to expose you to a game we love or us to a game we're interested in. And you should see the comments when we do that. You guys don't know crap about this game. It's like, right. like we're literally learning it. Oops, it hit my microphone. We're literally learning it here with you. Good job in noticing that we didn't know crap about that. Because they busted Heathen Dog's balls about the Traveler thing that we did last year. Because we don't know the Mongoose. I don't like Mongoose as a company. I'm not going to buy their stuff. So I don't know anything about their games. And then for GMI, we want to expose you to different people's philosophy. I might not agree with all three of them. Who knows? But we want to expose, and then you decide out there, I kind of like what that dude had to say. That dude over there was an idiot. Whatever, you figure it out. But that's our why now. That's what I'm kind of really impressing on people and kind of Heathen Dog, and I'll be talking about it more and more on our channel. It's like it's about exposure, 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 and then you can choose if you want to continue to be exposed to it or nope.
Yeah, well, that's really insight that there's a lot of insight into that, like the why. Like I started doing this a few years ago. It was COVID. I had nothing else going on, and I just discovered the OSR, in particular Lamentations of the Flame Princess.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows that is like my favorite game. It's my favorite
company.
Oh no, that one. If that was a drinking game, people would be dying of like alcohol poisoning because I just love it so much. But but when I discovered Lamentations, it was right at the head of the whole Zack apocalypse and all that shit that happened. So I found this game, I started buying the books, and then I go to a live stream, and James Radji's like having a nervous breakdown because his company's collapsed
again.
No, he wasn't naked in that one. But so I was just like, well, I'm going to start a YouTube channel, and I'm going to show people all these cool indie games like Lamentations. And through that, I started, reading Pundit, Venger, got into Free League and all that. And at the end of the day, I had this like epiphany. I'm like, yes, I've had fun with 5th edition, 4th edition, 3rd edition. Yes, I've had fun with D&D, but holy shit, there is like this entire, like, I don't know, garden. We'll use that as a metaphor. A garden full of just awesome stuff that just feeds my imagination in ways that, going back to the whole mainstream argument, is just not doing. And after a couple of years, I was working on how would I hack 5th edition, right, to make it more like what I want. And I'm in the middle of just sort of like messing around with some rules, this, that, and the other thing. And all of a sudden I just stopped. And I'm like, why do I have to hack this? If I want like an OSR experience, I'll just play an OSR game. Right. Like you don't need to hack 5e. You just need to walk away from it. And so that's why my motivation is not curmudgeon-y. It is, I don't need it anymore. There's other games that are doing it for me. You know what I mean?
Somebody in chat earlier said, and I agree with them. I think it was Full Metal Dragon, but in case I'm wrong, somebody said it. And this is the difference between now and then. The 90s is the golden age of tabletop RPGs. Now, a couple other people I know will argue, well, most of those games were created in the 80s. Well, maybe they were, but the 90s was this weird golden age of you had access to all types of game, Torg, Harn, Palladium, D&D, Shadowrun, Cyberpunk. I mean, you get Mechton. You just go down the list, like and we played all these different games. At least most of us did. Sometimes it was hard to peel somebody from Dungeons and Dragons, but for the most part, before the whole vampire craze kicked off, we were playing everything. Like, let's try this one, let's try that one. Yet we still had our static D&D game that went on every week. Right. But now, like one of you guys said earlier, it's like the mainstream stuff is just bland. It's like, how can we make the rules so bland that they're just there? They have no feel. They have no soul. They don't represent the world at all. They just kind of represent something simple that people can pick up on.
It's a tabletop skirmish battle simulator. That's all it is. You could change all the like main designators like fighter, wizard, whatever, and call it axe mech, fireball mech. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's all it is. That's all that they created. And so the aesthetic that they presented. So like, let me back up a second. You hear a lot of people say this, and I actually agree with that. The original 5e game, 2014,
Mhm.
before Xanathar's Guide, I would include Xanathar's Guide because it's got downtime stuff in it, is a good game. I agree. I think it is. I would not use any of the optional rules, but it's a decent game.
When
I
you
had
say
fun.
good game, and I'm not trying to grill you on this, but I am curious because I find it to be a very generic game. It is like remember in the 80s, talking about the 80s some more, you had the white box, the black letters, role-playing game. That is how I feel about 5e. It is just generic out there amongst everybody. There's
I say
nothing
it's
special about it.
I say it's good because it improved off of 4th edition. It improved. It definitely is improvement over 3rd edition. And it is
But a
a
polished
fantasy.
turd is still a turd.
Well, again, if you don't like if you don't like the game mechanics, that's fine. That's fine. What I mean by good though is that it's enjoyable to play, and I did get years. I literally played 5e for like 7 years. Like I know the system.
Sure.
So I would say it's a good system in that regard. It did what it needed to do. Is it the best system? Absolutely not. I kind of got off on a tangent here. 2014,
Hey.
good system. Shit, I forgot the point I was
Sorry.
going to get to. No, it's all right.
I mean, I was
it's
truly
fine.
curious
Whatever.
about that because, like I said, I'm not going to argue and say that it's bad. It's not bad.
Max,
It's just bland and boring.
I think where you see bland, and I'm not disagreeing with you, but I think where you see bland is what it was is 5e was really the edition where they were going for the player money. Right. I think before 5th edition, everybody understood that it was the dungeon master that bought everything. You're going to sell
That's a good
one
point.
copy of all this shit per table. This is all the money you're going to make. Be okay with it. When you're a part of a corporation, your job is to make money. You got to make money, more
Well,
money, more
I'm going
money.
to push back against that later, though. I'm
But
sorry,
I
I just
think-
want to
but
let you
I
know I
think
want to
in-
push back against
No,
that.
I understand that. But I think that in their attempt to get the players to buy more shit, I think that's what we're seeing as bland, because when you appeal to everybody, there's not
Right, you
really a
appeal
lot
to
of
nobody.
special. I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But I think that's where they made their mistake is it became bland when they started selling to players as
Well,
opposed to
so
dungeon
that
masters.
perfectly leads into what I was saying earlier about it going mainstream. And about again, and I don't say corporations in terms of capitalism. I say corporations in terms of exactly what you're saying. They've got to make money. Well, how do you do that? You dumb it down. Again, when I use dumb down, I don't mean that somebody's stupid. I mean you just make it bland. You make it easily accessible, whatever term you want to do out there, so that the majority of people can do it. Hobbies are supposed to be niche. You don't go to the model airplane club and say, we're going to start launching out bottle rockets here because this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
No, you continue to fly airplanes. Look, I don't go to the Warhammer folks and say, screw you hippies, I'm going to proxy my battle mechs in here for your dumbass 40K game, and I'm not painting it in 3 colors, and you're just going to deal with that, because that's not how that portion of the hobby works. If you want to do that at home, that's your business. But something like 5e takes it and says, how do we strip off everything that gives it heart and soul and just make it for monetary gain? Business oriented, yes, I understand that, but it's horrible for any niche hobby.
What? When you talk about
I'm
stripping
coming
heart
around.
and soul, when you talk about stripping it heart and soul, what do you mean? Like
There
what?
is just, so again, D&D has that heart and soul, that quirkiness of it, and it depends on the edition you do. But let's just use TSR for a second. You can actually run a BX adventure. You know, I have a few back there, but I don't normally do modules in 2nd edition AD&D. And maybe the only thing you have to tweak is, oh, well, now instead of everybody getting a D6 hit points, the fighter's got a D10 or
Right.
something like that. But it's still compatible. Maybe the saving throw names changed a little bit, but it's still fully compatible. You don't have to do much. You try to bring that in 3rd, 4th, or 5th edition, you got to completely rewrite it, or rechange it. So just taking that, if it was still compatible, except, you know what? We have found that people just don't understand this THACO thing, and nobody likes to look at tables anymore. That's just such an old concept. Let's do ascending armor class. And that was the one thing you changed. I think people, again, grognards like me would have been like, This actually does make a little more sense. So, this is the example I used to use. I don't want to keep rambling here. This is the example I used to use. You guys know the game Civilization for the computer.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
They have a design philosophy every new edition of the game that comes out. 33% of the game must stay the exact same. 33% is tweaked and 33% is new. It gives you something fresh to look at, something like, oh, looks like they fixed this, and something like, oh, I know how this works, and gives you a model to hold on to. They don't gut it from just change it from scratch.
Well, wouldn't after a little while though, iteration like the iteration 4, iteration 5, iteration 6 be that radically different from couldn't that happen for radically
It
different?
could happen over a bunch of editions. Let's be fair.
And is-
I don't know what you guys think about second edition AD&D, but for me, 2E is bestie. But I know a lot of people out there who freak out, whether it's because they kicked Gygax off of it or because, oh my God, they made race class limitations. You may as well just be 100th level now, or kits are the dumbest thing. You can name all the stuff that they did in there, but all of that was technically compatible from first edition, and most of
I
it
agree.
came from first edition.
I'm not one of these OSR guys who hates second edition, because I came up in second edition, and I agree. The 90s were great for gaming, especially if you were into D&D. Like Dark Sun really opened my mind to like what the game master could do with just a few tweaks with core rules to make like a world come alive, right? But where was I going with this? Second edition. Oh yeah. So, but I don't think that's really what you're sort of saying. I don't think fully answers my question. You're saying Wizards of the Coast, the corporation, whatever, gutted the soul. Like, what is the soul? Because like we keep moving from mechanics to something else. Because like
it's not.
Because like
it's a combination.
Yeah.
Because like if I could, I think one of the biggest problems with because I do think that there is an issue mechanically, and Gary pointed to it when he said they started catering to players, because players like their builds. They're not concerned with balance. They're not concerned with verisimilitude. They just want to have the badass character, where game masters actually worry about that shit. At least a good one will, right? So that's a problem mechanically. But I think when you start talking about heart and soul, I mean, that's where we start moving from Clyde Caldwell into like spiky bit armor anime, and then we have.
I think heart and soul can go to marketing to players as well.
Sure,
because for a little bit, because there's anyway, I can't articulate it right now, but I think that it goes because it changed the way that people interacted with the game. The DM had a certain amount of power. They had a certain amount of knowledge, and that got lost.
This is me just. I'm not trying to prove a point here. I'm just asking a question. Are you suggesting that original game D&D, not OD&D, but just like what we are kind of talking about, OSR?
Yep.
That was a game master's game?
Yes, I would say that. I mean, it's as much for the players, but the game itself. Look, not everybody has to buy a copy of Monopoly to play Monopoly, right? That was just the way it was. I think maybe it was a game master's game, possibly. I don't know.
Well, let's look at a couple things, at least from my standpoint. If you wanted high-powered fantasy, what did you play? Well, in terms of D&D,
anything third edition and beyond.
Okay, let's go OSR side. I'm diving into settings is what I'm doing here.
Oh, okay.
If you want to play power fantasy, you played Forgotten Realms.
Yep.
If you wanted to play true D&D, you played Greyhawk. If you wanted to play something that was a little more tempered down, but had the old feel, you played Mystara, the Gazetteers, and so forth. If you wanted something a little more story oriented, but also had a bunch of rigid systems built into it, you played Dragonlance. That's my favorite.
Yep. Dragonlance and Mystara.
Yeah, Dragonlance and things. I'm a second edition guy, but I would still run it through the first edition book because I think it was that much better. So each one of those took the D&D world, and you guys mentioned Dark Sun. I despised Dark Sun back in the day, but I understand it for what it is now.
You didn't mention. And if you want something grim dark where everyone dies and is battling the elements, you play Dark Sun, and that's what I wanted.
And if you want to play a bug, you can play Dark Sun. I'm a
Dark Sun just makes me feel worse than before. I
want my players and their characters to just struggle from the moment they sit down at the table to the moment they get up.
There are
See
just
you
some
next
things
week,
about
guys.
Dark Sun to me that just like the whole I cast a spell, plants grow. I cast a spell, plants die. Shut up. So there's some silly things in there that just for my brain just did not tick well. But I now, at this age, I actually have a newfound respect for Dark Sun. But all these things that were different, that were weird, that were quirky, belong to settings. The game itself was generically, here are the race class limitations, whatever. Well, that's funny. Dragonlance didn't follow that. They completely got rid of halflings and made their own race. Weird.
Right.
But you know what? It still fit the D&D scope. What did Forgotten Realms do? They put dinosaur creatures in there. That can be paladins. Okay, the thing is all this stuff was available. It's just that WotC, for the business purposes, wanted it all under one roof. Well, it's what I call backward think. And I haven't actually talked about this in a long time, but it goes like this. If WotC would have kept the same spirit of the game, race class limitations and all that other good stuff in there, however they wanted to do it, I probably would. That is a big deal for me because I mentioned a lot. Obviously, it's a big deal for me, race class limitations. But it's not the only thing. The saving throws, will save. That's boring. Deck save or reflex, whatever the heck it was called. That was boring as hell to me. Like, there was just like no spirit. There's just nothing there to it. If they could have kept most of it and just changed a little bit and said, hey, we want to let you know that while we have these race class limitations in there, you can do whatever you want. Or let's flip the script. If they would have so much as said in that 3rd edition book, I literally picked the book and said, oh, we don't limit class by race anymore. I took people have heard the story, clip it now, clip it when I said it a few years ago. What were the words out of my mouth? I said, this is commie role-playing and threw it on the floor. The day I bought the book. Those are the types of things I'm talking about. Well, I think race class limitations are stupid. Great, go play a different game. There are many games out there that don't have it. Don't ruin my Dungeons and Dragons with that stuff.
When I read 3rd edition for the first time, I had a very similar response. I was like, oh my God, they've really democratized the game. The players know how the game master is going to do everything. I don't know if I like this.
Were ridiculous. Like, I'm gonna build. I'm gonna I call it Lego.
Bringing
I'm gonna Lego my character together.
I'll grant you this because I've mentioned this a couple times. I miss subsystems. Subsystems are kind of like an art in themselves, right?
Yep, agree.
3rd edition was the beginning where D&D broke it down to just the one little algorithm, the one little calculator, D20 plus ability score plus what other bonus, base attack bonus or whatever, plus miscellaneous plus whatever, right? And once everyone knew that, building a character just exploded. And I
have all these dice. I want to roll all these dice.
Give me a D12 table. Give me a D12.
Hang on. I got it. Having this conversation right now. So I think I was telling you earlier how if I just kind of let my stream run, like eventually one of your shows is going to come up, Max. And having this conversation gives me so much insight into another conversation or comments that I've heard on your show occasionally. And I want to bring up Savage Worlds riffs.
Okay. I can't wait to see where this is going, to see if you're confusing me with Heathen Dog. This will be fun.
Am I confusing you? Well, it seems to me that why mess with a good thing, right? Like everything seems to be working fine. Why do it? And there is like we were talking about before, these like sort of unequatable things about a game, like the spirit of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like Savage Worlds, you can maybe use that setting of riffs or however it works, but it's not going to feel the same.
Right.
It's just not the same thing.
No, it is absolutely not the same.
Yeah.
No, so I'm one of those people, like I'll hear people out there, a lot of people in our circle know Shadow and Sun, and he and I have a disagreement on this one. He's like, I don't care what the system is, as long as I'm playing with friends, I'm having fun. You tell me you're going to run a 3rd edition game, I'm going to tell you I'm out and you can be my best friend for the entire life.
Yep.
I do not have fun playing that game. I never have. I tried it for years to force myself, like just through blunt force, I will finally like this. And I've never I like 5th edition way more than 3rd edition. Like system I despise 3rd edition and Pathfinder.
Yeah, regardless of whatever anybody says, system matters. It does matter to the game. It affects the flow of the game. Everyone's like, Gary, why do you read so many systems? Why don't you just pick a system? Because this doesn't work for sci-fi. It works great for fantasy.
Mhm.
You know, a superhero, this system in this superhero game works great for this, but not for this. And it does matter, and it affects the mood at the table and the flow of the game. And anybody who says it doesn't is just being silly.
Now,
You know,
am
they
I
say
mad? So using the Savage Worlds thing. So Heathen Dog is a Savage Worlds hater. I'm not. I actually like Savage Worlds.
I like
But I like
Savage Worlds
Savage
too.
Worlds in terms of its own settings. I hate the fact that it keeps taking over everybody else's damn setting. Like, I'll use a
Yes.
bigger example than even. So first of all, there was a Savage Earth Dawn drink. But this is the worst one. Savage Battlelords of the 23rd Century. You can't. No, Battlelords of the 23rd Century has got to be the crunchiest game that
That is part of it.
Right. You
The
can't
Burning
do
Wheels,
that.
Savage Worlds. You can't do it. Twilight 2000, the Savage World. And I like Savage Worlds.
Yes.
I like it. I do like it. I played a lot of it actually in that weird when I wasn't a geek for a while. I don't know how to explain it. You know.
I got a Rumble rant from Ultra, $2. Thank you, sir. 2 years
What's
ago
up,
today,
Ultra?
I made my first appearance on Nerd Cognito after a gaming company tried to cancel me for my opinions. 2 years later, I'm still the same man and still standing. Very
Drink,
good.
bro. Good for
Yeah,
you.
let's drink.
Wait, I have to drink? What am I drinking to?
We're
Still
to Ultra.
Ultra.
Beer
Right,
from.
you are going to
Ultra
regret
is
this
still
if I get
Ultra.
drunk, or
We're
I'm gonna
drinking
regret
No,
to
it.
we'll never. Well, welcome to the second watch, Max. We appreciate
See, the thing
it.
about second watch is we start late, Max.
Can I water this down? Where's my wife? I'm a lightweight, dude. I'm 52 years old. I'm not like I was when I was in the military.
Bro,
Two
Now,
of
we
these
get-
things are gonna have me
we
going.
get-
Hey,
nuts.
you know,
we get it.
Max, I'm so grateful. We're the same age. I'll drink with you. We're the same age. And I went out a couple years ago and accidentally fell in love with a woman who was about 10 years younger than me and had two younger
man.
children. I'm a 52-year-old with a 7 and a 9-year-old and a 15-year-old, but I had him before. Boy, you try to find time to join a Barrows and Borderlands game when you are a parent of 3. It is really fucking hard to find time to do that.
Yeah.
Hey, I am curious though, Matt. You say you're not an OSR guy, but you definitely have a certain respect for the OSR.
Yes.
Have you looked at anything recently in the OSR that's piqued
So
your
my issue with
interest?
the OSR is this, and I know people are going to take this as offensive, and I don't mean it this way. Dude, there's too many of you. Stop it. like that's my thing.
I agree.
I don't want to tell anybody not to write a game or do a passion or something like that. And I'm not going to knock it and be like, oh, they're just the same thing as everybody else's, Well, actually, what I do say is it's just somebody's Dungeons and Dragons game with house rules. And I don't care if you want to publish it. That's
Yeah.
great. Do it. Make the money, enjoy your game, get more people to enjoy it. But what happened to me was, having a YouTube channel and so forth, everybody was throwing their games at me, and it was becoming really hard for me to be like, wow, this one is so different. It changed one rule,
Initiative.
So I got to the point where I'm like, guys, I have all the OSR games I need. I have Hyperborea, which is my favorite. I have Sword and
Yeah.
Wizardry, which I think is the best written. And I have Osric, which I will probably never play. But you know what? At the time when I got it, I didn't know you could buy first edition books. So,
Yeah.
Right.
look, I understand you love Lamentations. That is way too gonzo for my taste. That game is too weird for me. But
I'm
not that
kinda
I
with
don't
you.
think it shouldn't exist. I think if people want weird OSR, they should go look into it.
Yeah.
Like,
I actually agree with you. And this is what got
Mhm.
me in trouble with people but I've been saying this for a few years because like I discovered the OSR, and when I first discover something that I'm really passionate about, I like dive into it, right? And so I start buying all these books. So I bought Blue Home, I bought all this stuff, and then all of a sudden I'm just like, these are just people's house rules off
Yeah.
of BX. What the hell? So like the reason why I like Lamentations, I mean I do like the rule
to be
system.
fair, it is further out there.
Yeah,
I
but
agree,
like
Max. I'm with you.
but like Lamentations is not the rule set. Lamentations is all the stuff that he produces, and which is different, strange. I would argue he's trying to push this envelope, maybe making RPGs like an art form. I don't know.
Where was he
But,
during the
like,
Satanic Panic?
Oh, he would have been up on a goddamn cross,
Right? Upside
Well,
down.
I was
Yeah, I know.
I was
but
gonna say
like,
real
but
quick-
I have the exact same opinion. Like we've got enough retro
And
clones. What I'd love to see the OSR do, and they are starting to do that now. Pundit calls it the third generation, where they're, instead of publishing their house rules, they're now actually trying to create worlds and experiences. So you got
yes.
Pundits, Medieval Authentic, you got Barrels and Borderlands doing this like Gonzo Game of Games thing,
Yeah, go back to the setting concept. If there's one thing second edition it does have faults, even though it's my favorite. The settings were absolutely like you could pick what you want. Core rules in the player's handbook, and then I like power fantasies. We're talking. Let's go play Forgotten Realms. One of my favorites. I don't care if I'm making my own setting or what. I promise you, if I'm running a long-term second edition AD&D game, you will end up in Ravenloft. And my Ravenloft is not a happy place. It is not. Oh, it's funny gothic. No, my Ravenloft will eat you alive.
Yeah.
Like
I like that Ravenloft.
It will
That's a good
absolutely
Ravenloft.
happen because I actually want it to be dark. I'm into more visceral and dark games. Bear and I, we argue about this. Like he wants more heroic, and I'm like, I'm into the kind of the dark gray area
Yeah,
stuff.
me too.
I love
Me too.
Forbidden Lands. Forbidden Lands is
Oh,
freaking amazing.
Yes.
The halflings and goblins alone, that is worth the entire
Yeah.
book.
That
I
is
need to
brilliant.
separate you two, or I'm gonna wind up without a show. Listen,
Yeah,
guys.
no, I know. I just my only problem with Forbidden Lands is the setting is too morally gray. I would like a little bit more.
That's fair. That's fair.
You know what I mean? And we actually started playing it with my house, my in-person group. They loved the system. They really liked the system, but they could tell I was not into it. They're just like, "What do you actually want to play?" And that's when we shifted to Gods of the Mid-North and D&D. But I promised them that my default homebrew setting that I've been working on for 10 years, I will convert to Forbidden Lands, because where there is like this, good, evil, blah, 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 but it is a great system for like storytelling fantasy, especially if you're into
the only
the
problem with
Hickman,
Forbidden Lands is
know.
it goes from, oh my God, we have like we're gonna die, we're gonna die, we're gonna die, to okay, nothing can really challenge us. It really does get into like once you get a bunch of talents in there, you're like, dude, I'm rolling 15 dice even if I'm sleeping. Like
Right. Yeah. That's why you have to embrace the death spiral.
Oh,
Make a new
definitely-
character. Make
Oh,
a new character. Make
I
a new
love
character.
that about the game. The Death Spiral was great. So one of the times I ran it when I was in Germany, I ran it, and the guy at the table threw a temper tantrum. He went in. I had a Minotaur that he was fighting, and he went in. And he just got bolted and knocked back into the walls. How the hell are we supposed to do this? We're rolling 5 dice, and he's got 14 dice. There's no way we can win. And I'm like, what happens if you take all 6 of your players and add your dice together? What happens? Oh, you start thinking tactically and using teamwork, and they won.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. A Minotaur is going to punch you into next week if you decide, I'm going to fight him myself. Yeah, please do.
Right.
Hey, Max. This is a really random question. And do you play all of your games in person, or do you ever do online games?
I've done some online recently, mostly because I've got people in the back and it's like, dude, come on, you got to do it. You got to embrace it. So I was in RPG is Dumb. I haven't seen him in a long time, but he was running a Rifts game that I was in. That was pretty fun. Bear is in, he started as Paladium Fantasy, but then turned over to, what is it? The Call of Cthulhu system, Basic Fantasy, roleplay, changed to that. He ran a pretty fun game. What else have I done? Oh my God. Painter. Oh my God. I know that. Hold on. He's over here in my Discord. I can't think of his name right now. I was in a Pathfinder 2 game of all.
Oh, wow.
I know, right? This is how much I respect the dude who ran it. Why can't I think Forge and Brush Gaming, but he changed the name of his channel. Anyway, I was in that one as well. I kind of got kicked out of that group.
You got kicked out of that group?
Yes and no.
What'd you do, man?
So what happened is one of the other players and we came up with this little background thing, because I played one time. He was like, dude, just sit in the game. You'll be an NPC, just sit and have some fun with us. I said, okay. And I played that NPC. He's like, how would you like to make this a character? I'm like, I see what you did here, dude. So I was like, yeah, I can do it. But the guy who I was interacting with, we came up with just a quick little background. Like, I blame you for having 10,000 soldiers wiped out, and you blame me for being a coward, kind of thing. So we worked it all out, right? Like, this is going to be fun. And then, so we're going to be spatting at each other. And then the other people in the group are either going to be the peacemakers or whatever. No, not at all. We started yelling at each other like, you two just need to shut up. You know, like there's no role playing. It was because I'm a role player.
Yeah.
I like theater of the mind, and I like the role play aspect of it. And so all it ended up turning into, like, one of the women came up and she's like, you know, you really need to calm down. I was like, shut up, the men are talking right now. And dude, she took that seriously, like it was out of character. She's yelling after the session, and this is all recorded. He like, I think he actually has it out there for people to watch.
This is great.
Like after the session, they're like, are we going to continue with the racism in the game? I said, what? He's a goblin. Of course he's a thief. What else would he be?
Yeah.
And the dude was mad at me because I was being racist. Not the game master. The game master thought it was okay, but it was one of those things where they weren't comfortable playing with me because I have these old, tropes in there. And the thing is, I never hurt him. In fact, I saved the dumbass goblin's life one time by grabbing him by the back, by his scruff, and just throwing him back. How dare he grab me like that? Blah blah blah. Like, what you gonna harassment or something? I saved
funny. It's funny how all the people with colored hair want you to role play right up until you role play accurately.
Yep.
I was in, of all things, a very like rules light. What was that game called? It was like that Thundar the Barbarian roll under.
Oh, I remember you telling me about this.
Yeah, and the character was like, he was an escaped slave, and he was real crafty, and he went to try to rescue this guy, and this guy was under some malaise, and he wouldn't do anything. And I was like, well, fuck him if he ain't gonna help himself. And that was the character, right? If I were a paladin, it would have been different. But this guy, like, he escaped. He was very proactive. And one of the guys across the table says, that's very Republican of you. And I was like, the fuck are you talking about, dude? If that's very Republican of me, I need to check the way I vote, man. Or don't vote, actually.
So one of the things that I do when I'm at a table, I respect the table. In terms of this, I will never do something at the table that intentionally gets a party member killed. I will not push them in front of a fireball. Like I was there, even though I had this attitude. One of the other players kind of recognized it. She was pretty cool about it. Behind the scenes, we kind of had some good role playing as well in that, because she kind of saw what I was doing. She just didn't like that I, was having this other fight going on. Well, like, I'm not going to be there to try to get you all to die or anything like this. Just because I have a rough attitude, we're stuck in a dungeon. Do you think I want you dead? No, I want you alive, because you're going to be a meat shield for me at some point. Like
right.
But these people take, and I don't mean that like as I'm going to throw you in front of me, but like you're going to be some hit points where I can do something.
I'm with you, brother.
All they were doing was acting like, well, your attitude and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Me and Matt were recently we're in a very role play heavy Easy D6 game. We've only done like a session 0 and in the first session. And it's one of those things where like I don't know, it won't last years and years, because it is like there's going to be a beginning, middle, and end. But at one point, we were role playing, and Matt's character and whoever the NPC was, we just started going at it and talking over each other for about 5 seconds, and everybody at the table was like, whoa, what's going on here? This is just what it is.
Yeah. I'm playing a Southern Baptist preacher with a drinking problem who talks to ghosts.
It's 1970s small town Texas gothic horror kind of thing.
Yeah. It really interesting setting. Gary's done a great job. I'm really excited to play the character. And Easy D6 is great if you want to be like 3D, 4D RP,
and that's the kind of thing
session.
is we had been talking to all the 4D guys. We're friends. Bacon is a friend. Like, I love that guy. He's a friend.
Oh, Bacon's great. Yeah.
And I've spent enough time online with Crispy now that I kind of feel like he's a friend as well. And so I think, we really wanted to give that sort of philosophy or those techniques a chance. Mm-hmm. They use Easy D6, so we're going to do it. I'm never going to become a 4D guy, but I at least want to be able to say that, hey, we stepped in it, here are my thoughts from experience, as opposed to just talking.
I'm definitely not a 4D guy, but I'm fully entrenched in the 3D camp. And I see Mr. Max is on there, so he'll like this.
Good to see you, Mr. Max, by the way.
What's up,
I
Mr.
don't believe that
Max?
players. No, I'm the game master. It's my world, not theirs. They just live in it. With that
Fuck
said,
yes, dude.
So here's the
Ooh.
difference between me and a 4D person. If I'm a player, I'm saying, hey, if I'm going over to the office desk that you said that was in this room. If there's a pen, I want to do this. And the game master's like, yes, there's a pen there. Great, then this is what I'm going to do. A 4D guy, I'm going over there to grab the pen. I didn't say there's a pen there. Shut the hell up. Like that's my response to the 4D thing.
I think that's
Hold on.
fair. I do. Oh, go ahead, Gary. Go ahead.
I was gonna say
Matt,
myself, and Bacon, we just did a session 0 with Crispy on his channel.
It was a
Because
lot
the
of fun.
4D guys, they do it, and it was a great. As a player, I loved it. I got everything I want. I have a mech. I have a katana. I'm ready to go, man. Let's play this game. If I were the GM, I would hate everybody. The amount of time we spent talking about water on this fucking planet.
Dude,
Oh,
that's like one of the best
God.
parts about this. Oh my God.
Oh, are you good guys, bad guys? Come on.
Ah.
What else do you need? Anyway,
Look,
but as a
the
player,
thing
it was
about
great.
I got to be honest with you. Thank you, Disco. The thing about 4D, number one, I'm glad Gary reached out to Crispy about doing it, because I've been really curious about it, and to actually like participate in campaign creation was really cool. So I got to
It was fun.
do it.
It was fun.
Just like, I played in a Bro SR game like 2 years ago. The ill-fated Brodiental Adventures game. It was like 3-4 weeks, and then it collapsed, right? But I got to see it. I got to see how it's done, right? And now I can like have like a sober analysis with all like the bullshit propaganda. Not to say that the 4D guys do this, but the Bro SR do. Sorry, they do. And I like what the 4D guys are saying in terms of you should be allowed to assume certain things just exist, like going to the desk, picking up a pen, and writing a note.
Nope.
See, I think unless there's something special about the desk wherein that pen won't exist, I don't have a problem with it, because it allows the player to like really engage in the world.
Because there's got to be a part where, and the thing is, it starts with a pen and then it turns to other things. I get what you're saying, that something simple that there's going to be a pen on the desk. I hear what you're saying. Now, I'm not saying that, okay, do I have to ask every time to see if there's a pen there? No, not at all. I can do a better description next time to let you know that there's one there. That would be on me as the game master. Or you can do it as, like I said, I do it as a player. If there's one there, then this is what I do. And he'll be like, yeah, you see one, no problem. Or no, strangely enough, there is no pen on the desk. It'll be like, well, man, I'm fumbling around here. But it is my world, and I will never let a player take it over ever.
Now Gary loves you,
Max.
Now Gary loves you. He didn't like you before, but now he likes you now.
I might entertain his suggestions. I might entertain his desires, but I will never, ever, ever let you run my world. You live
Max,
in my world. You interact with my world. You affect my world. It is not your world.
I agree. You can create the character you want to create within the rules that befits the setting. That character can do whatever stupid shit you want that character to do. I will never tell your character they cannot take an action, but you don't get to pick who your fucking parents are, and you don't get to tell me if there's a pin in that desk.
Yeah, right.
What you should
Yeah.
do if you're 4D role playing is you should say,
if
I
you
go
want
to the
people
desk and look
immersed,
for a pin, and then I say,
I'm
as a
not
DM,
arguing.
you find one, and then we move on.
Gary, no. Okay, I'm not saying that, because we've had some honest conversations about this since that, and I don't know if 4D gaming is actually sustainable. I don't know if it's like, you know what I mean. And more importantly, Gary had said in one of our private conversations, is like, where's the game? Like, part of playing the game is actually talking about the rules and going over it, and I agree with that. However, I agree with Venger Satanis on this. We play these games for immersion. And if allowing my players to assume there's going to be a pen in a desk when there's nothing important, then just let them have the goddamn pen. Because now they feel like they're interacting with the world. They're doing something in the world.
And
let them do it.
And I will say, when we played the other night, Bacon said I grabbed something. Or he said something, and you know what? And it fit. And there was absolutely no reason for me to tell him no, it's not there. You know what I mean? Like, but Bacon, I know Bacon, and he's not gonna push it. Right? He's not gonna push those things. I don't know that later that's going to happen. I'm going to tell you my real thoughts on 4D are this. Right now, I'm real hot on Stars Without Number. Drink. And
gonna have to pour yourself another
and
shot.
that system.
I'm sorry, I should have warned you.
While that system is not crunchy, that system does it. It's a game. It has rules.
Yes.
I think that the idea with Stars Without Number would be that as a group, as a team, your players and your GM, kind of the way Macris talks about, with this is a project, not a hobby or a social gathering. This is a project. You get together and you learn the rules. And as the rules become more second nature, you slide into that immersion. You slide into character. It is a natural progression. But if you ignore the game underneath, then just fucking sit around a campfire and pass the goddamn story stick and leave me the fuck alone.
That's kind
I've
of
had
how
too
I
much
feel
to
now. To be
drink.
fair
Yeah.
to Crispy and to Mr. Max, who I like, I think I think they're good people. Bacon, I've only met him once, but he was good people as well. I like to call it table LARPing. Now they're gonna push back and we do play the game. We do this. Look, people look at what I do as table LARPing. The main difference between those folks and us is I recognize that if I'm at your game, it is your world. I might make some assumptions, but if you were to come in and be like, dude, there's no pen on the table, I'd be like, okay, then my character's looking around for something. Like, I'll just react to that, right? But
Right.
I'm not going to make this assumption like, oh, I'm the player. I get to dictate. No, it is your world. I live in the world. Just like when I go to work on Monday, there might not be a pen in the desk there. I don't just get to magically make it appear. Like, okay. But if there's a pen there, I'm going to stab this dude in the back with it.
Yeah.
And I love immersion. I'm deep into the role playing, like I'm absolutely in the whole, hey, let's be in character, talk in first person. I actually demand that at my table and so forth. But you are not going to make assumptions about the world.
Absolutely.
Anyway.
There's any number of things that could be going on. And maybe in that moment, I just want to make it a little bit more fucking hard for you.
Yeah,
right? I know what you're trying to do. And maybe I want you to carve it into the desk with the fucking letter opener. I don't want to make it, you know what I mean? I want to make it
with
a
you
little
100%,
bit.
yeah.
And those are the fine subtleties when you're being a GM. I'm not fucking with the rule. I'm not trying to screw you. I just want to make life a little more difficult. The pen's not there. Now, all of that being said, one of the things that we've talked about is how, and I don't mean to keep, because I'm really into this idea of 4D. I do think it's aspirational.
Yes.
I do think, you know what I mean? I think it should be looked at as a set of goals more than we're going to do this. No. This is where we want to get eventually.
So do you know 28 millimeter, Rick?
I do not.
He and I, we had we'll just say a little tiff about this a couple years ago. And this is what I told him. And I stand by this. 1D, using their terms, 1D role-playing is down here. I don't like that style. I don't like beer and pretzel games. I don't want to be there. If that's what you want to do, you do you. That's not for me.
That's
2D
me
is
and
a
my
little
7
more
and 9 year
immersive,
old.
but includes just too much out-of-character context for me and so forth. When I'm in character, I'm in character. Go watch any of Bears games. You know what I'm talking about. 3D for me is the precipice. That's where I'm respecting the game master and the game master's world, but I'm playing my character. I'm in the headspace of my character. I'm not in the headspace of John or Max or whatever you want to call me. I'm in the headspace of, just use my most recent character, Athane. And I'm going to have to do things that Athane would do, not necessarily things that I would do. 4D to me starts to fall off the other side of the precipice. That's just my take on it. It goes that step too far.
Well,
Good to see you, Doc.
it's also, here's the thing. If you really want to do 4D and you want to do it right out the gate, I think it limits the amount of games that you can really play.
That's
I
true.
mean, there's a reason the 4D guys like Easy D6, because
Sure,
Easy
okay.
D6 is, once you learn like it's 5 rules, it's the most intuitive game in the world. And you can do a really great game with a really great story with that. I actually love that system. There is so much to love about Easy D6.
I knew you were going to like that system.
I love it. But the thing is I don't know. I mean, how far can you take it? Right? Like, I'm not going to run a 10-year campaign using Easy D6. Right? I'm just not going.
Which says something about granularity, and that goes into,
and that's what I'm
where
saying.
I
is
do agree with some of your criticisms about 4D.
I
What
think
I'm
X2
saying
would
is,
be very hard to play 4D levels
You
1
couldn't.
through 4.
dude, I sat at a table with Alexander McCrease with his Ascendant game.
Oh Jesus!
He wrote it, and he was still consulting the book. Okay, he wrote it. He was consulting the book.
McCrease is the level of autism that makes you, it just makes you go, some people are just too smart for their own good.
Yeah,
Dude,
great guy.
reading Acts,
Yes,
Shared
absolutely
agree.
fantastic.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But
I love Acts 2 and I love reading it, but I know I've told the story a million times. In high school, I moved from small town Texas to Downers Grove, Illinois, just outside of Chicago. And I immediately had a D&D game going with people like me who are into comic books and heavy metal and played guitar and all that kind of stuff. And then one day I went to another game that was in the engineering lab where they had like the drafting machines and all that. Those guys had a different culture in that room, and it was a different game, and they were not suffering my chicanery. And that's what Acts 2 feels like. It feels like I've walked into the Honor Club's D&D game, and they're not going to put up with my bullshit. You know,
What I like about Acts 2, and when I talked with McCrease about that, because he came to promote it before it came out on our show, and that's where I met the dude. Absolutely fantastic guy. Look, I'll talk to him whenever he wants to talk. But he did something that I think every game should do. If you want McCrease level autism, the rules are in there. If you want to just kind of hand wave a few things, he tells you how to do that as well.
yes,
And that's the way I think a good game should be written. I have my X2 sitting. I don't know if you can see it up in the corner. You can see just the bottom blacks of them right there,
I got
up
mine
in the
here.
corner.
Love it. Love it.
1,500 pages of just pure rules. But when I read through them, they made sense. I like the way he writes. His writing is actually easier than most people's that I write.
Agreed.
Really good job with the book.
Yep.
Am I ever going to run it? Probably not.
You know,
Like
Axe is the thing that I have. I would love to run a pure Axe game, but right now I think Axe, with what McCrease has done, it is the perfect reference tool for any OSR game. You want to do some, I mean,
he's got it written in there.
There's, I mean, that's the joke. Axe
Yep.
has a rule for it.
Yep.
I will say this, though.
There's
I
so many
will
of those
say this, though.
systems
I
you could put in
really,
place.
I mean, he does a better job of it. But I have come to hate skills and feats, and in the OSR, skills kind of operate as feats. I just hate them. I would just pull them out and just toss them. Because there's like in the rule cyclopedia, and this, excuse me for this tangent, but I have to bitch. In the rule cyclopedia, there's a skill called caving. And if you make your intelligence check, you know how to get back to the entrance of the cave. What does that do? That means you, the player, don't have to sit there with your graph paper and actually map out what the hell's going on. Macris does a better job with it. I can't remember what it's called, but it's similar. If you make your skill check, you can show your map to the game master, and he can tell you where you went wrong in this one particular junction or whatever. So he kind of tempers it. I'm like, the whole point of OSR, it's player skill. Is
yeah, like, and that's one of the things that I actually don't fully agree with OSR on.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So now, look, I'm not against callers. I played with them. I'm not against mappers. I played with them. I'm not, and to be fair, I don't make when I'm a game master, I don't make 2 maps, one for the players, one for me. Screw that. I'm just gonna tell you what's in the room. You figure it out. But with that said, I'm not saying that they're passe. I'm not saying that they're ancient. And I'm not saying nobody should do them. I want to be very clear about that, but that's not for me. I am a little more narrative driven than that. I go back to the whole Hickman manifesto. I'm in that era where I'm trying to do a campaign. I want to see how my story, my character grows, not my story, sorry. My character grows over time. I want to know that, man, I was first level. I was rolling dice like crap. Dice rolls matter. I'm fully on board with that. But but now that I'm 15th level, dude, I can chop up this. I can even throw a little fireball out of my sword. That's pretty darn cool. But as I've grown up, remember when we fought those orcs and there were like 20 around us? We thought we were dead. Now 20 of them like, die, bitches, like whatever. Yeah. I like that kind of growth, whether it's class-based or skill-based game. So I like to feel my character grow. I like to have my character grow. Again, I don't know if anybody out there watched it, but if you watched Bears games where I was playing a Thane, over time, Athane was growing up. He started off literally, I just want to, if there are any girls there, I want to do them kind of thing to hey, you are now King Arthur.
And you're the darkness.
Yeah, right. And you're going to be, actually, Athane was the opposite. I had the best fighting skills of the group and I ran away from every fight. but he grew. He realized that he had to be the king and he had to do these things. And it's like, I don't want to, but okay, let's do that, but he still would sometimes slide back into. And I like kind of doing that with my characters, just watching them grow over time. I look at, so the 4D guys, well, I shouldn't say the 4D guys. When Shauner was with us, what Shauner used to say is that playing a game is like watching a movie. And I disagree with that completely. It should be done in a couple hours.
I agree with that.
I think it should be like reading a novel. I'm here for the long haul. And if that fight scene takes me 20 minutes to read in the novel, it should take me 20 minutes to play out at the table.
I disagreed with a lot of Shauner's takes on things. He liked to make fun of me on some of my, and
not everybody, but
yeah. I never had I know. I never had
weekly.
I know. I never had a problem with it. I always thought it was kind of funny, and it actually got my attention. And I had been paying. I kind of knew the 4D thing, kind of. He's sort of like the godfather of it, right? So like, so, and I always appreciated it, but like where I disagreed was like, yo, here's my god honest take about the whole thing. Like, number one, Mr. Max, his breakdown of the different dimensions is 100% accurate, I think, or at least close to accurate. But I think your average game session transitions through all 4 dimensions over the course of the session. Like, I don't think it's categorized. This is this, that is this. You're not going to go to your friends and like, hey guys, I'm going to run a 1D game, just beer and pretzels, I mean, maybe you say something like that, but people are going to want to role play at some point, right? Or they're going to put on their general hat and start really getting into the 2D, right? The nuts and bolts of the game or whatever. So I really appreciate what the 4D has done and what, Shauner kind of presented in terms of like reminding us like why we're doing this. And this is where I disagree with the Bro SR. Like, I don't think the Bro SR is sustainable because there's like no role playing that's really going on over there. Like, and it came to a point in my experience with that. As much as I had a character that had a sort of personality that people were sort of experiencing over the course of the game, at the end of the day, it was me trying to win like a video game or a war game. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't doing what you were just talking about. I'm a tough fighter, but I'm going to pretend to be afraid because that's what my character
I wasn't pretending to be afraid. My character was young and I was treating him as young.
Right. Well, my point is, the Bro SR wouldn't do that. Is my point. They're like, because I'm tough. I'm going to go do it.
There's a comment. And unfortunately, it scrolled back. Let me see if I can find it here. Somebody just said there's a game, not novel or a movie, and I'm going to light that dude up because he's fucking retarded. So Mike and Front, whatever the fuck your stupid ass name is.
Mike's my boy. What did he say?
So they're called role-playing games. And in a role-playing game, you actually fucking role-play. And role-playing isn't like, I move my toon over there 5 squares and I just roll the dice. That's a board game. If you want to play a fucking board game, play a board game. I actually like role playing and getting involved and envisioning the character, because that's what role playing is. Role playing is being immersed in the character. Now, immersion means different things to different people. But if you just sit back, hey, can you move my miniature like 4 feet? You're just playing a fucking board game.
I agree with you, and this is one of my problems with 5e when I was talking about it. It's just a battle simulator, right?
Yeah.
I can tell you,
Go play Hero Quest if that's what you're gonna do.
yeah.
Like,
I think Mike's coming from the perspective of like story gaming, whereas like you're like kind of like in this like railroad. I know Mike from a little while.
no, I get that. No, and to be fair, a lot of people say that. He just happened to be the dumbass that said it there. At that point, the whether it's story, I'm not a story gamer either. Dice matter.
Yeah.
The verisimilitude of the world matters. But when I say verisimilitude of the world, I mean the world, not the rules of the game. Well, you know, it actually says I get a +2, so it's stupid for me not to do that. Yes, but no character in the world, no person in the world would do that. It doesn't make any sense. But the rules, I don't care what the fucking rules say, you're playing a character in a game. And this is where I think the 4D folks have it right, or at least like you said, it's aspirational, because they want you to be those characters. And this is where the whole novel or movie or whatever comes in. Those novels were written based off a game. Not all of them, obviously. Some came up before D&D. H.G. Wells is an example. But if you're reading a Dragonlance novel, if you're reading a Forgotten Realms novel, if you're reading what's that? Stackpole had some novels and so forth, not for BattleTech, but his own stuff. They're all based on that concept. You're playing a character. You're being a character. You're in the headspace of that character. That is how you should act. You know, and that is how you should.
I generally agree. I honestly do agree with that. I think.
I mean, if people want to play board games, they can play board games all they want. And I'm not going to tell you're having fun. Do what you do. But to act like, well, it's just a game. It's not a novel or a movie. You're right. It's not a novel or a movie, and it is a game. And I think that some people forget that it's a game. I kind of think the 4D people sometimes forget that it's a game also. The dice matter and the rules matter, but it's a role-playing game. It is a certain style of game where you are in the headspace of the character and you are role-playing. And if anybody's read that book by Gary Gygax, was it Role-Playing Mastery, where he has, well, there's role assumption and role-playing. No, Gygax was retarded too. At least in that regard.
Well, I'm not on the Gygax, whatever. I agree what you're saying, and I actually think that what you're saying mirrors my criticism of the Bro SR. It's like,
right,
there's still role playing going on here. Like, I get you're trying to win some sort of weird, like, mental fucking war game against your fellow players and the game master and all this stuff.
Yeah, go play Chainmail then. That's not a role-playing game.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I do agree with you on that. And that's why I think and I go back to this Mr. Max's like breakdown. I just think it's not a category. It's just a continuum. As you're playing the game, you show up, everyone's stuffing Cheetos in their face. They're playing 1D. They're excited to be there. They're talking. And then all of a sudden they're role playing a 3D. And then there's a combat and everyone gets zero focus. Well, dude, if you do a 5-foot move here, and you'll do, yeah, now they're 2D and then they're 3D.
Yeah, right.
I just think that's really what happens.
Hey, Matt, I'm curious. If you think that that's true of 4D, could the same thing be said of the browsers? Like, not the browsers themselves, because they're like, the whole rules is written. We're playing AD&D 1E just exactly the way it's supposed to fucking be, right? But I mean, in a regular game, don't you kind of flow into and out of the rules and the mechanics and all of that?
No. My experience with the Bro SR is that you're going to say something that you want to do, and the referee is going to go see if it's possible. And they're going to consult the rules. And if there is a gap, then there will be a ruling. And then that becomes the rule. I mean, it's very much from Arbiter of Rules, Alexander McCrease. That's how they approach it. It is a great book. It is.
Oh, I have Arbiter of Rules or Arbiter of Worlds anyway. Maybe are those two different books?
Arbiter of Worlds?
Yeah, I have Arbiter of Worlds.
That's McCrease.
Yeah. I thought you said Arbiter Rules. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I might have.
Arbiter
I've had a few beers.
Not that when I read it didn't preach that. It did absolutely talk about the games, the importance of the game system, but it didn't sound like, hold on, stop everything. We have to consult the tome to make sure that this is perfectly possible.
No,
that's not how I read it.
That was my take. Like, if there's a gap, the judge is now creating a rule for the game.
Well,
And
right. That's the judge's job. Is if there's a gap in the rules, it's the edge cases. That's where you become
yeah,
the judge.
So
Is
this is so one of
everything?
the things that we've done with Palladium, and Kevin Sambita has actually picked up this term. He likes it, so I got to coin something. But I feel like this about most games. Is there a framework? I despise games like Pathfinder, where it's a freaking encyclopedia where I have to look up everything. Hold on, let's see if that's there. I'm not here to games have rules and we have to follow them. They form the constant, like the 9.81 meters per second squared universal constant of whatever this setting is. But I like my rules to be more of a framework, as in it's not going to tell me literally everything I have to do and I have to go, oh my God, consult the pages. No, it gives me enough information that where I know how to adjudicate this. You are trying to jump off you're trying to jump off a cliff, grab the vine while holding the treasure over here and maybe kicking some mutant or whatever that's leaping out after you at the same time. You know, that's going to be a pretty tough roll. There's no rule in the book that says, what do you do when somebody jumps, does this, all these things together. I'm going to give you a plus, or a -5 penalty to your attack roll. That is the framework. If you have so many rules that I have to keep looking crap up, I'm going to throw your book down and I'm going to say, I'm going to go play a better game. I absolutely believe in the game aspect of games. They have to be there. And I don't like when people just like, I don't like that rule, I'm changing. I don't like that rule, I'm changing. I don't like that rule, I'm changing. And they basically just make their own game, or they are just table LARPing, going back and forth. But with that said, the role-playing aspect is important. It is there. We are creating characters, developing characters, growing characters. Otherwise, you're just playing a board game, so basically a computer role-playing game. You're just moving along, seeing what skill you get at the next level. That is
Agreed.
I agree with
not
that.
role-playing. That is just.
I do agree with that.
And I think one of the things that I agree with that, and a few years ago, I think a lot of the adventures that I would have run would have been designed to like bring out character and and as I mature and as I play more games, what I find is that if you just leave the players alone and give them situations or problems to solve, sort of a sandboxy game, they'll take care of all that other stuff. Like it's not, you don't really have to plot their course.
Right.
It's
Oh,
a
absolutely.
natural.
And the thing is players can have so much agency and so much control without having to tell me that there's a pen on the desk. like you can give them so much. And I did it with the game that I ran today. In fact, they had so much control they never even got to the combat because of some of the things that they were doing. Now, somebody made a comment earlier about that I said that thing about Gygax. Now, I'm not a D&D historian. I, by any stretch of the imagination, don't care. I care what's written in the books. I don't care about the people. With that said, almost everything that I've been told, I agree with Arneson over Gygax, I think, every time. It's just Arneson couldn't write for crap. Like when it comes to like, oh, you believe like Arneson did, great. I don't care who I believed with, but the more and more I hear about it, Arneson had better ideas than Gygax. He just couldn't write for crap and had no no ability to keep a timeline or anything.
It's so funny because I think every game table, it's like a fingerprint. Depending on who the game master, the dungeon master is, and the players at the table, and the fucking time of year, and where is the AC set, and what kind of munchies did you have that day, and where are you in the campaign? It's so hard to say, like, your campaign should be like this. Your session should work like this. This should all be like this.
Right.
Yes.
Because here's the thing. I run a lot of games, and I'm not the uptight, pocket protector geek kind of guy. A lot of times I'm like, hey guys, if I get the rules wrong, feel free to tell me. I can be that guy. And so it's going to have a different feel than at Matt's table, where Matt's figured out this whole thing and he's divided this subsystem and we're going to, you just know you're going to have a different experience.
Yeah.
So as much as I hate the idea of as long as you're having fun, I think that's kind of bullshit.
Such a cop-out answer, but it is true.
But it's true.
But it's not true. As long as you're following the rules and having fun, I'm good with you.
Out of here. Hey, Max, you want to do the second watch with me moving forward? No.
It's funny. I think I'm in the middle of you two when it comes to this, because I do believe that you should use the rules, and I think that the rules are important. But I have a certain feel or a tone that I'm going for in my games. And if I look at a rule and say, let's use my favorite now. Let's get everybody a drink from my channel. When I run Earth Dawn,
drink.
like one of the things I do, and it's such a minor change, but it has a psychological impact on people, is when you change your action in Earthdawn, because what you do there is you declare your action, then you roll initiative because that declaration could change your initiative. Then
Yep.
you do your actions, right? Now, some people, oh, that's so clunky. No, it goes like this. Rolling initiative does not slow down a game. It's literally part of the game. Shut up. But if you change your action, it's supposed to be +2 to the target number. What I do is I say, no, it's -2 steps to the roll, which literally changes the dice you roll for that. Why? Because a +2 target modifier, they're like, whatever. -2 steps, which mathematically is the same thing, that should be a 2-to-2 ratio. Like, oh crap, I don't want to lose the dice that I normally roll. They're not as prone to changing their action. Now, does that matter? No, but I'm just using that as an example of I do things in my games to set a tone that I want on the world, whatever that happens to be. So if I change a rule, I'm not doing it because I think the game's crap. I do it, the whole table that I've got for Palladium when it comes to combat isn't because I think that Palladium rules suck. Sorry, do I have to?
And
No.
bringing it back around real quick.
I'd
Sorry.
like to be able to respond.
Go,
to all
Matt.
this.
Go, Matt.
Okay.
Well, just let me finish my point real quick.
Go ahead.
Isn't because I think Palladium sucks. Is because I think that there needs to be in any game a better cover and concealment mechanic, and I've developed that using the Palladium framework. Now I'm done.
Okay. I'm going back to the whole cop out because I don't think it's as a cop out as everyone is. It can be for someone who's not like really fully fleshing out the rationale for whatever it is that they're doing. But at the end of the day, we are playing a game, and a game is entertainment. Why do you want to be entertained? It's fun. So it is a good rubric. So, but in the context of the TTRPG, we have to refine that. Like, what do we mean by that? And that's why I like Venture Satan is saying the goal is immersion. You just said something about experience. Like, this is what I want to present. So, like, when we're looking at house rules or homebrew, we should be looking at whether or not what we're doing is actually achieving that goal.
Right, exactly.
So I'm not. I want to make clear here. I'm not Mr. Whatever you want to do is, no. Because I do think there is a wrong way to run a game. I just don't think there's one right way to run it. Okay.
I can agree with that. I can absolutely agree with that.
And Gary, was saying something earlier about like my table versus his table. There's a lot of factors that go into creating a campaign and a table, right? That will change like how I approach something. Like my in-person gaming crew is very different from the guys I've been playing with online. So my attitude and the way I approach it and how I'm going to run the game changes dramatically. And I made this point like a couple weeks ago, and I got into some deep philosophy about it. I don't think we should be looking at, well, this is the way you should run your game. No. We should be having conversations like this because game mastery is about virtue. It's not about what you ought to do or the consequences. They may inform who you are as a game master, but we should be talking about what makes a virtuous game master. Like that is what makes you a better game master.
I might have a little caveat to that because I do think there's a wrong way to run a game. At some point, first of all, you make so many house rules, it's not the same game. But it's like what some folks were saying in chat earlier. Well, I think race class limitations are stupid. Then go play a game other than D&D.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right.
A different book. Like there are a lot of games out there. You know what you can do? Well, actually, Earthdawn does have race class limitations. But you know what you can be in Earthdawn? This is a joke from my channel. Some people might know what it is. You can be a dwarven wizard in Earthdawn, and I don't shut them down. Like right. I would in Dungeons and Dragons, because Dungeons and Dragons, if you even look at the mechanics, there are reasons like you get a Constitution, but for your Constitution you get a bonus to save versus magic. You actually touch a magic item and it's 20% chance that damn thing doesn't even work. Why the hell should you be a spellcaster? Doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Well, I just like being dwarfs. Well, I don't. If you want to be a dwarf, then do dwarf things. And I do believe in bioessentialism, but there are other games out there that allow you to do stuff like that. Now, could you theoretically make your own setting? And I'm gonna actually address your point here in a second, Matt. Yes, you could do that where dwarves can be magic users. But at some point here, when we're talking Dungeons and Dragons, we have to have a baseline.
Yeah.
And that baseline has to be what's in the book. So if you're telling me like, oh, dude, I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons, I got this, that, and the next, sooner or later, I'm like, you're not playing Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know what the hell it is. You're rolling a D20, I guess, but that's not like we don't have that baseline. So even if you don't like something, even if you take it out of your game, when you're talking about the game as a generality, I still feel that you've got to be talking about the core game the way it was written for everybody to play, even though you've changed it.
That's fair.
Agreed. And I know we're past
Well-
midnight. I know we're supposed
well,
to
we
be going,
can keep
but
keep
real
going.
quick, you were talking
I
about
got hour streams.
baseline.
What's wrong with you?
Hang on.
I know.
hang on,
We're talking to
hang on.
Max. We're talking to Max. He can go.
I've been so
He can go for.
quiet.
I know.
So
I
what
gotta.
I'm trying to say is,
I'll be back. Go ahead. Go
not
ahead.
just
Gary, Gary. I'll be back.
Hey, but
What's up, nerds?
Matt
It's good to
likes
see
to
you.
talk. Matt likes to
I'll keep
pick on
talking.
certain groups. But when you talk about baseline, we've been talking a lot about mechanics and the way the game works. And we keep saying Dungeons and Dragons, but one of the baselines for Dungeons and Dragons is the fiction that was being taken in at the time.
Yes.
So Appendix
Yes.
N is as much of a baseline as the original mechanics are. And that
Agree
is, as much as
100%.
Matt likes to bitch about the Bro SR, I think their greatest contribution has been pushing people back towards those Appendix N books. And because that is the baseline.
Look,
Can
I had
Jack
an
of
issue with the
Shadows do
OS.
this?
I stay away from the Bro SR as far as I'm concerned. They're not a cancer, but they're a problem. But that's because I had some very bad interactions with them about 5 years ago or so, or 4 or 5 years ago. And I will stand by the Hickman Manifesto over the nonsense that they're doing all the time. But I do think, just like the 4D folks are aspirational in terms of role playing, I do think that the Bro SR are aspirational in terms of staying to the roots of the game.
Yes.
I think they're too hardcore about it, but staying to the root. And the thing is, and this is where I am, and maybe this is why I get shit on a lot by a bunch of people, because I'm in the middle. I absolutely believe in hardcore role playing. Put on your vampire costumes or whatever the hell it was that you did in the Wizards, and that
Right.
was the World of Darkness games and so forth.
Yep.
I absolutely love role playing at the table, and I can have an entire session that is just role playing and absolutely enjoy it. But there are also rules to the game, and those rules exist for a reason. There's tropes, there are traditions, there are things that you're just supposed to do whether you like it or not. And I am always looking for that right in the middle. I'm going to cater to you. This is why I hate builds. Somebody put a Pathfinder comment in there. Well, Pathfinder's about making builds. I'm with what's his John the old geek. I hate the term build when it comes to character. I'm not building a damn car here. Like, I'm making a character. This is supposed to be a living, on paper, but a living thing. So it's got rules and we're going to follow them, but it's also a character who's going to have his own thoughts, needs, and desires. Mash that crap together and you've got a role-playing game.
I agree. Max, holy shit, man. I've always enjoyed your channel. And now that I've had a chance to talk to you, I understand why, I don't skip past your videos. You know what I mean? When they come up, I let them play.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
We agree on a lot of stuff. And I think
I can fix that.
I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could. But what I would also venture to say is that I think, a lot of these things are situational. They are while you're at the table, they are in session, Now, the one thing that I try to never make situational is I don't fudge dice.
Oh, right.
That's just the you don't
So
cheat
I have
on
a
your
question
wife.
for you. Are you one of those that have to roll in front of everybody just to prove that you're not fudging?
No,
I do.
It depends on the game, because there are some roles 5e, right? The fucking every 5-minute perception roll. Those are definitely behind a screen. There are I would say there's certain roles, maybe lore or checking for secret doors,
That's fair. My mentality is very simple. If you don't trust me, then you shouldn't be at my table. I don't fudge dice. There are other things I might fudge. I've got a couple of stories that folks know about fudging hit points and things like that to make the combat more entertaining. And the players liked it in the end. They were happy I did that, but I don't fudge dice.
Can I want to ask both you guys a question. I know we're running late and this is a whole other,
we can
this
keep
kind of
going.
goes along the way though. So I ran this easy D6 game and I created the monster, and this monster had a few special abilities. And because it had special abilities, I didn't give it any extra hit points, or strikes is what they call it in Easy D6, right? They wound up killing this thing. Well, I thought the whole session was going to
Oh, I
be a
remember, yeah.
monster hunt, but they wound up killing it within 10 minutes of the game starting, right? Would you have, without the player's knowledge, and is it ethical or unethical to give that monster more hit points without telling anybody?
Oh, absolutely.
No.
Abs-
Look. Well, go ahead.
I
Go
should
ahead,
have
Matt.
given it more hit points.
Well,
I
no,
shouldn't
well,
have said
okay, so
no.
you
in my
just said the answer a moment ago. It's situational. So do you
Mhm.
mind if I give my
Yeah,
anecdote
go.
here? Again,
Please
some of the
go.
folks who will watch my channel will already know this story because I talk about it a lot. But so I was running an Earth Dawn campaign where they were hunting down. It's actually called Blades. It's a module, but I tweaked the living crap out of it. And they were getting these blades, and they finally got to the last horror. Think demon. And they went there. They did a little planning, and they did what they're supposed to do, and they beat the thing in one round. This was supposed to be the big bad at the end sort of stuff. Like they are going
Yeah.
like, oh my god, they beat it. And the thing was, is I knew, as I know my players, that if they had done that, they'd have been like, we worked that hard, and that was it. So what I did is I said, so I put this in my head. I said they didn't kill it, and I'm not going to let them kill it now. However, it cannot kill any of them either. They've already won. So I'm not going to cheat and like, haha, I killed 3 of you, even though it was already dead. But I absolutely gave it more hit points. It fought for a couple more rounds before they killed it. We'll just say a second time. It beat the living tar out of them, so they knew the power of it. But and
Yeah.
in the end, and they were like, dude, that was amazing. Even after they found out that I'd cheated like that, they're like, no, that made it that much better because holy crap, like we whooped its butt the first round and then it was still there and then we had to keep fighting. We were like, oh my God, what's
See,
going on here? They
that
talked about
goes
that fight for
against-
weeks.
I know, but that goes against so much. And this is one of those things. It's different games, right? If you're playing Easy D6, you're not playing, whatever. And here's the thing I will say, Max, you're probably right because they killed that monster, and then the rest of the session was role play.
Yeah.
And it was
it was a great
and
session.
it was good role play.
And when you told us, oh man, I was expecting this to be a monster hunt. I was like, well, that's cool. Like we were kind of badass and took care of this thing. And we had this awesome session where we ended up running this fucking douchebag out of town because we didn't trust him. Remember? Like I'm a preacher. I got my Bible in one hand, my pistol in the other. I'm like, you're not welcome here. Get the hell out.
I kicked him out of town.
That was great. That was great. So I appreciate Max what you're saying, and a buddy of mine in my in-person gaming crew would agree with you 100%. Like,
but I gotta be very clear, it's situational. I don't do that often. Like literally, the reason we remember that story is because that was the time that it happened.
And honestly, because it's the big bad, I'm willing to potentially concede.
And honestly, I'll tell you something
that
else,
as
Matt.
an exception to the rule, but
that
generally
particular
speaking,
session, I do think, and this is where I kind of go with Max. Had I given that creature more hit points, it would have been a very exciting chase around kind of like I still think we would have had a great session. It just came down to the moment. Do I fudge it? Do I not fudge it? And I decided to go
again,
OSR
I think it partially
with it.
depends on game too. The reason that they were happy I did this in mine wasn't because I cheated or whatever term you want to use. They got to use some of their cool abilities that they've been preparing to use. They got to have this fight. They got to feel the intense of like when that thing finally, because they killed it before it even got to act. Okay, like that's how it's like blah blah blah. Well, that was a letdown, So no, it beat the crap out of them. I had to. This would have been full cheating if I would have killed any of them. but it beat them up. They got to use those abilities, and I'm telling you, every single player that was in that group, and we're talking, 20, 25 years later, they still talk about that fight, and they're still happy I did that because of that. I would not do that to some random skeleton. I would not do that to just some random, like,
Right.
okay, this is the big bad at the end, but, it's just something that you guys came across, a giant or something like that. No, this is something that they were epically going through multiple adventures to finally get these daggers together. And that would have been such a letdown for them if they'd been like, "Oh, we killed it, cool, we got our daggers, awesome."
And Max, I think you're right when you say it's situational. It's a sort of a improvisational, like a jazz instinct almost, right? Like how it's how do you feel about it in the moment, and in that moment you go with it, and once you do it, you can never go back. And I think the good dungeon masters and the good game masters understand. They may not understand what's going to happen, but they understand that the consequences are going to be real for this game, and they're going to be lasting. And you just kind of go with your best judgment at
And it's
that
gonna be
moment.
different for each group. Like like the group that I ran a game for this morning. I wouldn't do anything like that to them. I would have just let them
Right.
beat the thing and be like, "Look what you guys did! Aren't you awesome?" And like because it was a different type of group with a different type of mission going on. I want my players to have fun. And I want them leaving going, "I cannot wait to come back next week and talk about the crap we did this week." Like when a session goes completely off the rails and you're like, what the hell just happened here? And they're still talking about it. You think you failed at everything. They think it was the greatest thing ever, right? I
Right.
love those times. Like, okay, it went off the rails and I was totally lost, but you know what? They had a great time. And, and this is
That-
where I said that whole they had fun is a cop out, but it's also true.
It is
Yeah.
also true.
I
I ran a low powered supers, and people would I'd come away from the table thinking, "Fuck, what just happened?" And then Matt and Melkor would come away saying, "That was great, dude." And I'd be like,
Yeah.
"Really? Yeah, thanks, man."
I wanted to highlight something that Mr. Max pointed out here. The GM is also there to play a game, and the game is figuring out what will happen during the session. If you're too rigid in your story or planning, you're no longer a player, but a service provider. I think it's a bit heavy-handed, but I don't think he's wrong.
Makes the point.
Like, look, if my players, and this has happened, I've had sessions where I remember this Dark Sun game where they picked a fight with a Dragon King, and he sent his high level Templar with an army, and they're in like this little like fucking like podunk town, and this army is showing up, and they built walls. They were prepared for this army. It was very much like a Magnificent Seven kind of situation, and they were like, they just kind of looked at me like, so, looking at the rules, like, well, we're just going to have all our archers target the leader's palanquin. I was like, what? Yeah, we're just going to shoot the leader and his like giant lizard. Well, you have like hundreds of arrows, and then the player characters with their spells and arrows, they end up killing the leader like in the first round of combat because they got initiative. And I was just like, well, this is a mercenary army. Their morale is like, nothing. So they won. Was it this climactic thing that I was expecting? No. But the players actually felt really smart. And yeah, but they also felt like they got one off on me, and yeah, they kind of did. But I
Players
didn't
love that
feel
shit, dude.
Yeah, no, they do, and they do love it. So I didn't fudge it. Like, could it been an awesome like climactic battle where they're like running around the parapets and like they're knocking guys off like ladders and doing all this other shit? It could have been that, but that's not what the dice dictated.
And I would say
So-
9 times out of 10, if not more, I agree with you 100%. I can tell you that's the only time I did that in our entire 2.5-year campaign where we played every week, 8 hours a day.
Can I ask you one quick question? Was that like the final boss thing?
Of the Blades module, yes.
Okay. Well, I kind of like I'm kind of okay with it because it's like,
They had to spend a whole bunch of sessions, probably
Yeah.
about 6 months of
Yeah.
real time playing every
and
week.
this is where I'm a little torn on that. But like, you're
You
the
can
exception to the
also-
rule. That's all I can
Well,
say.
here's the other thing, and I'm gonna cop to this, dude. I mean, I'm gonna admit it. When I was a kid, I knew all my friends so well that I could tell when they were having a good time and when they
Yeah.
weren't. right? You know, you got to remember that sort of like preteen, 12, 14, you know what I mean? And you would kind of read your audience and you might adjust the way you adjudicated the rules here and there just so your
Especially if there's
friends
girls
had fun.
involved.
I there were never girls in my game.
Oh, see,
Yeah, neither am
unfortunately.
I. Yeah,
that's
I'm just
so
saying.
my high school group was half girls.
Ah,
Oh,
Now,
I
I will tell you,
wish.
they made me not want to have girls in my group ever again, though.
yeah.
we tried we tried to play
think
with
of the
girls
stereotypes,
once.
we had them.
Yeah. We tried to play with girls once, but they were like, this is dumb. Why don't we just stay in the village and do something there? It's safe.
Oh no, we had the thespian drama queen,
Oh,
we had the cheerleader whore, and we
yeah.
had the chick who was basically a dude who ended up going to prison.
I like the cheerleader already.
Well, so did I, and so did a few other people. But yeah, I mean, so, and of course, everybody in the game is always trying to make her happy. So you
Yeah.
know, it
That is
didn't
the
make for
thing with
fun
kids, right?
sessions.
That's true. That's true. You know, it's funny. I'm going to have to go to bed soon, bro. It is so late. But I was watching or listening to I think it was one of your older ones, and you were talking about dudes playing females in role playing games.
Oh yeah, I don't allow it.
And I agreed with everything you said, but I have this one friend
Yep.
who I love
The
dearly.
one friend.
The
yep.
one dude, and he plays nothing but female characters.
Are
And
we
he
talking
does it-
about
We're talking about DM Cloaker, Brian.
Brian? All right.
Brian,
yeah.
fucking Brian, dude. He's the dude that no matter how many times you don't like pineapple on your fucking pizza, he always orders it with pineapple. That motherfucker.
Yep.
He's that guy.
We love you, Brian.
I love you,
But
man.
Jesus
Holy
Christ.
shit, bro. But he does, like, every time he plays a female character. And it's odd for about 5 minutes. And then it's just not.
No,
Yeah.
I can't. I've let people try to do that on occasion over the years. I just don't allow it because so like you know, I think Mr. Max was saying a little bit ago. You know, part of it is me having fun too, and me being immersed also in my own world.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I can picture you being an elf or a gnome or some sort of weird horned creature, whatever from outer space. I can't picture you as you're talking to me being a girl unless you're like, well, hi, and then I'm just like, okay, we can. This is make me uncomfortable now. So like, no, we're not doing that. So I just don't. I also don't let chicks play dudes either. So
no, and I understand. I definitely understand that, and I can't figure out what it is that Brian does different because he doesn't do a voice.
Nope.
I've
No, he
never
does
had a
not.
time when his chick character hit on a dude. Like
Yep, he
there's
doesn't
never
do that
been
either.
anything like that. And I don't know how he makes it work. I swear to God, he's the only player I've ever had. By the end of every session, he's a guy playing a chick character. And
yeah,
he's
see,
the
but again,
only
I'm trying
person
to
I know that
immerse
can do it.
myself, and it's like when I see you, like you right there, and you're playing a female character, I'm not seeing a female character. I'm seeing you, the player. I want to see you as the female character. Look, I had a guy, so we used the central casting. We were bored, so we rolled up characters out of central casting. If you know what those books are, was it Paul Jacquet's, Janelle Jacquet's, whatever I'm supposed to call her. But we rolled out there, and one of the guys rolled up a priest and was gay. Now, mind you, I'm in the military, and like this is like 1993. Like, Don't Ask, Don't Tell just like happened. And so he was in the army, I was in the Air Force, and he rolled it up. Dude played it wonderfully. He was never flamboyant. He only, you know, he kind of only nudged about like, man, that, you know, maybe I'll talk to the bard afterward or something. I'll just be kind of quiet about, you know, whatever. But he actually played it like, dude, are you gay in real life? Because you're doing this really well, you know, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I loved it, but I still wouldn't let him play a chick.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking at Atmos thing right here about Tomb Raider. And Atmos, I'm gonna admit something right now. Does anybody remember City of Heroes?
Yeah.
It was a superhero. I loved that computer game, superhero MMO. I
Well, City
played
of Villains, but
nothing
yeah.
but females because it was third person. And if I had to stare at a cartoon character's ass for 4 hours at a time, it was always going to be a female character.
So when I played EverQuest back in the day,
Oh yeah.
they all
yeah.
did that nonsense. So you know what I did? I made the ugliest, fattest ogre with the zit face that I could and said, you guys got to stare at that now. I'm like, it's pixels. How are you being turned on by pixels? I absolutely don't get it. The only time I play chicks and MMOs or whatever is because I want them to give me stuff. And if you go tee hee hee a couple too many times, they'll be like, oh, here, have my stuff. And I'm like, thanks. But other than
Yeah.
that, but playing a computer game, I'm seeing the female in front of me. I'm
Right.
seeing that, but if I'm talking to Gary and Matt over here, and I'm like, you guys are playing girls, I'm just like, but you're not girls. Like my brain.
Max, it's the weirdest thing. I agree with you. Like, I absolutely agree with you. It is distracting and it's weird. And I'm just saying, I want to put it out there on the internet. DM Cloaker has the formula. I
Yeah.
don't know how he did it, but he's
Yep.
he's the one guy that's got it. So that's just a reminder that I can't do a lot of hard and fast rules. Gentlemen, it is well past midnight. I'm drunk as hell. I know it's a
Yeah.
special occasion because we have Max. Max, before we wrap up, thank you so much for being here. You know,
Oh, thank you for inviting me. This is awesome.
Yeah.
no, our show.
And I'm sorry for
starts
anybody
at-
I offended out there. I like to do stuff like that to get people spun up and watch the chat. I was hoping a couple of super chats would come in for these guys, but you know,
Hope-
hey.
Well,
we're not.
we do all right. We do all
We
right.
do.
And I just wanted to actually give a shout out to Disco because I'm starting to feel like because it's the end of the year and I'm starting to look at taxes and stuff. And I'm like, shit. I think I gotta make Disco a producer because he's like constantly like super
No,
chatting.
Disco, you're
And
great, man.
hold on one second, Disco. Lord Mattis could pull it off playing a chick. Thanks, dude. I appreciate it. Okay.
Well, anyway, I just want to say, Max, thank you. You know, our show, everybody's like, why are you on so late? It's like, man, we're on so late because Max is on before us and we
Yes.
are not going to try
Aw.
to screw with him.
Appreciate that. Sorry,
know-
what it's today's Friday. Oh yeah, that's right. Because GMI's
Yeah,
coming back.
so when Gary and I were number one, Gary and I met like years ago and we did a podcast together for a little while. That was during COVID, and then the lockdown stopped. He went back to work, I went back to work, blah 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 blah. We decided to do this, and I'm like, man, you know what's a good day? What's a good day? Friday nights seemed to work best for us. But at that time, you know, your show, which is going to be starting again in the next month, which we're very happy about.
Yay.
I did not want to like interrupt it. So the second watch, the name fits because it's D&D, but it really is
Your first
Game Master
watch, we're second.
Insights, and then it's us. Then it's us. So
Well,
you got
let me,
your
let,
lawful.
me, let me tell you a little secret about Game Master Insight that might help you out. Now, everybody out there, you didn't hear this. Plug your ears. I'm hard capping it at 2.5 hours.
Oh, really?
Yes. So one of the changes so I'm making some changes for the upcoming for 2026. There are going to be some more call. I'm actually going to have people call. So how it's going to work is I'm going to shut up more. We're going to see if that works. I'm going to try to
Don't,
shut up
Max.
more. How
You
about that
are,
one?
bro. You are your show. Don't shut up. Don't shut
Well,
up. Please.
no. For this, I need to some degree. But here's the very quick lowdown. It's only gonna be 3 segments, not 4 now. It's gonna be this person here starts the conversation, and then the other 2 jump in. Instead of like me asking the question every single time, I'm gonna ask the question once at the beginning. So your question number 1, you answer it, then everybody else just jumps in when they're done. Like, how do you do this? Why do you do this? Well, I think that's stupid, and here's the way I do it. Blah blah blah, whatever. And then question 2 goes to him, and then I ask, and then same thing. So I'm basically gonna be out of it unless I have to poke and prod people like, hey. And then I'm gonna have a call-in portion of it where it's like people from the audience get to call in and bust your balls
Oh,
on
cool.
that.
That's awesome.
On whatever that is, I'm more facilitating of that. The other thing is I'm trying to do some debates, and we have one scheduled here. Mr. Max Boivin, who's watching right now, Reactionary Principle Gaming. He's going to be debating Daniel from Driving and Dragons, and they're going to be debating Player Agency, which is going to be kind of fun on that one.
That'll be interesting.
And I don't care if they go all blood sport with it, and I don't care if they stay friends about it. Like, whatever. I'm just going to be there to make sure they stay on time and don't talk over each other. So, but that'll be on a weird date. So, but yeah. So what I decided to do, because some people would complain about, well, you said it'd be like 2.5 hours, but it took 4. I'm like, yeah, okay, you know. I got to find a way of bringing this in, but I like getting information from people.
Right.
So I want to
Right.
hear you talk for 6 hours so I can be like, okay, that's stupid. That's good. That's whatever. And then counter it with my own crap. Well, no, now it's going to be, I try to shut up. I said, so we're try. We're going to do that. We're going to have that final say. And at 2.5 hours, I don't care if I still have like $100 to super chat to read. I'm going to say we're done. But here's the caveat. It switches to members only.
Oh, okay.
So if there's still stuff to talk about, so our after show, you know, that after show that people are like, we keep hearing so much about it. Let's do that. Well, the after show is going to be members only after that. And this isn't to like,
Smart.
I need to get more members. It's because we kind of thought, you know, it'd be fun if there were some people watching, but it really isn't for public dissemination what happens on the on the after show portion of it. So that's kind of the big change that's going on with it. But 2.5 hours, I don't care if we're in the middle of discussion. Bam, stop right there. And I do want to say this real quickly here, if you're still watching, and Mike, I wasn't trying to bust your balls that much. I really was just trying. I wanted to see if I could, you know, raise the iron, get chat going, and we do this. You'll see Bear and I do that a lot on my streams. We'll just start sniping at each other intentionally, or sniping at somebody in chat, just to see if we can get stuff moving. So, so I hope, you know, take it for what it is. I still believe what I said, though.
Me and Matt
Speaking of
pick on
Mike,
each
we got
other.
a super
leave our
chat.
audience alone.
We got a super chat from Mike. Tabletop role playing games are games. Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
Agreed.
Also,
well-
role-playing games, because that's in the name.
Yeah. Max, thank you so much
thank you.
for coming here. This was a great conversation. Oh my God. Whenever I kind of set up something, I'm like, oh, I'm going to try to touch on this. And I write a little list. Dude, we just kind of went. This was great.
Matt,
So
about
if you
6
guys have
hours
not,
before the interview, Matt starts getting like, what are we going to talk about? I don't know,
no.
man. We need
I'm
to write
type
some
triple-
stuff down. We'll be okay.
I'm type AAA personality,
I'm
lawful. Gary's chaotic. Chat's been great. Love you guys. If you don't know Legion of Myth, which I don't know how you don't, but if you don't,
Ridiculous.
please go to YouTube, hit like, subscribe, follow this guy. Game Master Insight is a great show. It's coming back starting next year. I've been on it. I love it. It ties into my own personal philosophy that if you want to be a good game master, you got to talk to other game masters and just sort of like bounce ideas off each other, and it's fantastic. So
If you don't mind me, it's one of the things that I'm really pushing for this year is I want more people on the show. At one point, it kind of became like the same 6 people that were rotating.
Sure,
out.
yeah,
That was
yeah.
one of the reasons why I did kind of put it on hiatus. It wasn't the primary reason, but it was one of them I was thinking about. So if you're a game master, you have to have a little bit of presence. Okay, I am like some of those folks that we'll just call them like the D team. I'm not letting them on the show anymore. You got to have some sort of presence. But if you do, and you've got something you want to talk about, I publish it on the Game Master Insight Discord. I put the schedule out there a couple of months in advance so anybody can plan around it and so forth. I give you the questions about a week in advance so you know what I'm going to ask you so you can prepare all the way for it. But if you got some sort, you got to be on camera. You have to be on camera. We don't do any of this not on camera crap. But if you think you can talk and you got a point that you want to make or whatever on something, I want to see more people on there because somebody could learn something from you.
exactly.
Max, I would add they have to have good sound. If they have shitty
Oh,
sound,
yeah, yeah.
don't let them on it.
Thank you. Oh, for the love of God, thank you for saying that. That's the number one that, by the way, first of all, I have misophonia, so sound is important to me. But I will boot somebody faster than they can say hello
shit.
if they've got dogs barking in the background, they're smacking their food. You don't even eat on my stream. Look, I'm from the 80s, and I was raised with this thing called decorum. You are not going to eat on my stream. Go. Like it's, you know, I'm not streaming from your kitchen, but yes, audio for the love of God. Yes, you've got to have some decent audio as well.
All right.
Good, man. Matt, take us home.
All right, guys. Chat's been great. Max, thank you so much for being here.
It's
But
been an
it
honor.
is-
Thank you, Max.
Yeah, it's been great. Best of luck to you at the start of that show. But it is for where I'm at. It's 1:30 a.m. So that means our watch has ended. See you next week, guys. Dude, get up.